America is a land steeped in history, and with history comes stories, some of triumph and courage, others of tragedy and terror. Among these are the tales of the haunted homes scattered across the country, structures where the echoes of the past refuse to remain silent. From creaking floors to ghostly apparitions, these houses tell stories of lives cut short, unresolved tragedies, and the lingering presence of those who can't rest. Tonight, we explore 25 of the most haunted homes in the United States, diving deep into the chilling legends, spine-tingling encounters, and horrifying events that make these residences infamous. The Amityville Horror House, located at 112 Ocean Avenue in Long Island, New York, is widely regarded as one of the most infamous haunted homes in the world. Its notoriety stems not only from the violent history that stained its walls, but also from the chilling experiences of the Lutz family, who moved in during 1975, seeking a fresh start, unaware of the darkness that had taken residence before them. The saga of this home begins with the tragic events that occurred just a year prior. The blood-soaked tragedy left a lingering imprint on the house, and many believe the violent energy never dissipated. From the very first night, the Lutz family sensed that something was profoundly wrong. George Lutz, the patriarch, reported sudden drops in temperature, even in the summer months, and described the pervasive presence of a malevolent energy that seemed to press down on the family. Cold spots would appear without explanation, and the air often carried strange, foul odors that had no discernible source. The unsettling atmosphere of the house was impossible to ignore, creating a sense of dread that hovered over every corner of the home. The paranormal activity escalated quickly. Furniture would shift or topple on its own, often in the middle of the night, and doors opened and slammed without anyone near them. The family reported hearing disembodied footsteps echoing through the empty hallways, even when they were alone. One of the most terrifying phenomena involved strange green slime that would ooze from walls, ceilings, and doors, sometimes accompanied by faint, otherworldly voices, whispering unintelligible phrases. These experiences left the family both frightened and exhausted, struggling to reconcile the normalcy of their lives with the increasingly hostile presence within their home. Visions of demonic figures became a daily ordeal for the Lutz family. George and his wife, Kathy, along with their children, reported seeing grotesque apparitions with glowing eyes and distorted faces lurking in the corners of rooms. Some claimed to have witnessed figures levitating or moving in ways that defied physical explanation. The family also experienced instances of mental intrusion. Thoughts that were not their own seemed to invade their minds, commanding or threatening them with frightening insistence. Even when isolated, each member of the household felt the house's malevolence, as if it fed on their fear, growing stronger with each passing day. The Lutz family also described peculiar and disturbing phenomena tied to their nightly routines. Beds would be shaken violently while they slept, sometimes leaving bruises. Lights flickered unpredictably, often plunging rooms into sudden darkness before returning to normal. Objects were not only displaced, but occasionally vanished, only to reappear in unexpected locations. These incidents contributed to an escalating sense of terror and helplessness. The family attempted to maintain normalcy, hoping that the occurrences were temporary or the result of imagination. But the intensity and consistency of the events quickly disproved that hope. Religious and spiritual implications also became apparent. The Lutzes reported hearing voices that threatened them directly, sometimes chanting in ancient or unknown languages. Some encounters suggested a demonic intelligence behind the manifestations, intent on tormenting the family. The most frightening episodes often occurred at night, when the house seemed to come alive, the walls pulsing with a sinister energy that was impossible to ignore. Attempts to cleanse or bless the home were reportedly met with resistance, as if the house itself fought back against any attempt to rid it of its evil influence. Numerous paranormal investigators have since examined the Amityville Horror House, reporting consistent and unexplained phenomena. Shadowy figures have been documented lurking in corners or peering from windows, and recordings capture strange, unidentifiable voices. Some investigators describe feelings of overwhelming dread and nausea upon entering the home, suggesting that the house's energy is not only psychological but also physically oppressive. Despite decades passing since the Lutz family fled, reports continue of eerie activity, suggesting that the malevolent energy remains active, undiminished by time or human intervention. The cultural impact of the Amityville Horror House cannot be overstated. It has inspired books, movies, and countless retellings of the events, embedding itself deeply into American folklore. Each adaptation and account contributes to the house's legend, reinforcing the sense that this is a location where evil persists. The story has fascinated both skeptics and believers, drawing attention to the question of whether some places can truly be tainted by human suffering and tragedy, creating a kind of energy that lingers far beyond the original events. Today, 112 Ocean Avenue is more than a house. It is a symbol of terror, curiosity, and the enduring mysteries of the paranormal. Those who visit the exterior often report an unsettling sensation, as if the very air around the property carries echoes of the past. While the home has been renovated and changed over the years, its history remains inescapable, casting a long shadow over anyone who dares to step too close. The house's infamy is not merely a product of media sensationalism, but is reinforced by decades of witness accounts and unexplained occurrences, making it a focal point for those interested in the dark and unknown. The Amityville Horror House stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of human perception when faced with inexplicable forces. It serves as a warning that the past does not always stay buried, and that places marked by violence and tragedy may retain a presence that is impossible to ignore. Whether one views the house as a genuine site of supernatural terror or a story amplified by fear, there is no denying that 112 Ocean Avenue evokes an intense and enduring sense of dread. For the Lutz family, their 28 days in the house were more than a nightmare. They were a brush with forces that defy explanation and a haunting that continues to ripple through the decades. Even decades after the Lutzes fled, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue continues to capture the imagination of those who study the paranormal. Unexplained voices, slamming doors, shifting furniture, and shadowy figures persist, reminding us that some horrors are not confined to memory or story. They linger, waiting for the next unwitting soul to cross the threshold. The Amityville Horror House remains, in every sense, a monument to fear, a dwelling where the past is never truly past, and the echoes of tragedy continue to resonate in the silence between the walls. The Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California, is one of the most enigmatic and haunted homes in the United States. Built and continually expanded by Sarah Winchester, the widow of gun magnate William Wirt Winchester. The mansion is renowned for its bewildering architecture, staircases that lead to ceilings, doors opening onto walls, secret passageways, and rooms without apparent purpose. Sarah Winchester believed she was haunted by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles, and she devoted her life to remodeling and expanding the house to appease them. Today, visitors report experiences that suggest the house itself still carries a restless presence, as if the spirits Sarah tried to placate never fully departed. Walking through the mansion, the sense of being in a place caught between reality and the supernatural is immediate. Guests frequently hear footsteps echoing down hallways when no one else is present, often accompanied by the subtle creak of floorboards that seem to move beneath invisible weight. The sounds are not random. Many describe them as deliberate, almost as if an unseen presence is pacing the halls, retracing steps from decades past. Whispers are another common phenomenon. Voices float through rooms and corridors, sometimes unintelligible, other times faintly coherent, giving directions, warnings, or fragments of conversation. The effect is disorienting, leaving visitors feeling as if they are not alone, even in the mansion's most remote wings. Temperature fluctuations within the Winchester Mystery House are another widely reported experience. Sudden drops in temperature can occur in one room, while the rest of the house remains unaffected. These cold spots often appear in stairwells, narrow passageways, and rooms with strange architectural oddities, lending an eerie physical presence to the stories of haunting. Visitors frequently feel chills that seem to brush against their skin, and some report goosebumps or a sense of being watched. Many attribute this to residual energy left by the countless spirits Sarah Winchester sought to appease through her relentless construction. The architecture itself seems designed to confuse, disorient, and trap. Endless stairways ascend into ceilings, only to turn abruptly or end at an empty floor. Secret doors open into walls or lead to hidden rooms, while hallways twist unpredictably, making navigation a challenge. Some believe this labyrinthine design was intended to protect Sarah from malevolent spirits, giving them nowhere to reach her and creating endless obstacles that could confound them. Others suggest the very complexity of the house has created an environment that attracts spiritual activity, with so many hidden spaces, allowing residual energy to accumulate, making paranormal experiences more likely. Sightings of apparitions and shadowy figures have also been reported over the years. Guests ascribe fleeting glimpses of people in period clothing walking down hallways, disappearing when approached. Some claim to see figures standing at the tops of staircases or peering out from behind doors, vanishing as they turn their heads. These experiences are often accompanied by a sense of unease or tension, as if the spirits are aware of the living intruders in their domain. The combination of visual, auditory, and physical phenomena creates a deeply immersive experience, one that reinforces the mansion's reputation as a home alive with spiritual presence. Many paranormal investigators consider the Winchester Mystery House a unique site due to its sheer scale and the persistence of reported phenomena. Audio recordings occasionally capture unexplained whispers or thumps, while photographs sometimes reveal misty shapes or orbs. Investigators note patterns of activity concentrated in areas with architectural oddities, such as staircases that lead nowhere or rooms with multiple hidden doors. The house, in essence, seems to encourage activity, its design amplifying both the natural disorientation of visitors and the perceived presence of spirits. The mansion has history, and Sarah Winchester's obsession with appeasing spirits add a profound psychological dimension to the haunting. Visitors are aware that this was a home built from fear, grief, and superstition, and many report that the energy of her intention lingers. The house is not simply a haunted building. It is a physical manifestation of one person's lifelong struggle to reconcile guilt, grief, and the fear of the spirits of the dead. Walking through its halls, it is easy to sense the layers of history, tragedy, and obsessive care embedded in every wall, floorboard, and hidden passage. Visiting the Winchester Mystery House is an experience unlike any other. It is not merely a historic site or architectural oddity. It is a place where the past seems alive, and the spirits Sarah Winchester sought to placate may still roam. Every creak, whisper, chill, and fleeting shadow serves as a reminder that some homes are more than just structures. They are vessels for memory, energy, and the unknown. The mansion remains a labyrinth of mystery, a testament to a woman's obsession, and a space where the boundaries between the living and the dead are permanently blurred. The Lizzie Borden House in Fall River, Massachusetts, stands as a chilling monument to one of America's most infamous domestic tragedies. In 1892, the residence became the scene of a brutal double murder that shocked the nation. Andrew Borden and his wife Abby were discovered bludgeoned to death with an axe in their own home, a crime that would forever link the house to violence, suspicion, and the specter of unresolved evil. Lizzie Borden, the couple's daughter, was tried and acquitted, but the shadow of the murders never left the house. Today, it operates as a bed and breakfast, drawing visitors not only for its historical significance, but also for the lingering paranormal energy that permeates its halls. Guests who spend the night at the Lizzie Borden House often speak of an unsettling atmosphere, a sensation that the home itself remembers the violence that occurred within its walls. Many report sudden, unexplained cold spots that seem to follow them from room to room, as if the air itself carries a chilling memory of that fateful day. These temperature shifts often occur without warning, sometimes leaving visitors shivering despite warm weather or the presence of heating systems. It is as if the house is actively asserting its haunted presence, reminding all who enter that its history is far from dormant. Footsteps echoing through empty hallways are another common experience reported by overnight guests. Visitors recount hearing the slow, deliberate creak of footsteps, pacing the floor above them, even when no one else is in the house. Sometimes the footsteps stop abruptly, followed by a moment of tense silence, and then resume in another part of the building. In certain rooms, these sounds are accompanied by faint crying or murmuring, as if the spirits of the Borden family or other unseen entities are replaying the horrors of that day. These auditory experiences are particularly unnerving for those unfamiliar with paranormal activity, as the house seems to communicate its tragic past through subtle, persistent cues. Many who stay in the house describe the sensation of being watched. Unseen eyes are said to follow visitors from room to room, a feeling so intense that it creates a constant tension in the chest and a heightened sense of awareness. Some guests report seeing shadowy figures moving at the periphery of their vision, disappearing when looked at directly. Objects, too, sometimes defy explanation. Chairs may be found slightly moved, doors left ajar, or personal belongings shifted without anyone in the room. These occurrences contribute to an overwhelming sense of vulnerability, as if the house itself is alive, reacting to the presence of living visitors and reminding them of the violent history that stains its walls. The master bedroom, where Andrew and Abby Borden were murdered, is particularly active, according to paranormal reports. Guests staying in this room often experience intense cold spots, the sensation of unseen hands brushing against them, and occasional whispers that seem to drift from the walls or ceiling. Some have reported the feeling of being pushed or lightly touched while alone, while others claim to see shadowy figures standing silently in corners. Even staff members who work in the house regularly speak of unexplained noises, fleeting images, and an oppressive energy that can make their hair stand on end. The house seems to preserve the memory of that horrific day, replaying fragments of its violent past in ways both subtle and terrifying. Visitors have also reported strange lights flickering in certain rooms, sometimes appearing as orbs that drift across walls or hang in the air, such as misty figures or sudden blurs, which defy logical explanation. Paranormal investigators have noted patterns of activity concentrated in areas associated with the murders, suggesting that the spirits or energies most affected by the tragedy remain tethered to those spaces. The house, in many ways, functions as a repository for unresolved trauma, a physical structure imbued with memories that refuse to fade. Despite its dark reputation, the Lizzie Borden house draws hundreds of visitors each year, many of whom are intrigued by the intersection of history and the paranormal. Tours of the home often focus on the gruesome events of 1892, the trial of Lizzie Borden, and the social implications of the crime, but the true haunting is often experienced during overnight stays. Those who remain after the sun sets frequently report a different side of the house, a realm where the past and present merge, where echoes of screams and footsteps linger long after the original voices have vanished. The combination of historical significance and paranormal activity makes the Lizzie Borden house a unique destination. Guests often describe the experience as both thrilling and terrifying, a chance to inhabit a space that has witnessed extreme human emotion and violence. The house preserves these echoes with a stubborn persistence, making it impossible for visitors to ignore the lingering presence of the past. Even decades after the murders, the energy within the home remains potent, and many who enter feel an undeniable connection to the tragedy that unfolded there. Whether one believes in ghosts or simply senses the oppressive weight of history, the Lizzie Borden house leaves a lasting impression. It is a place where the lines between past and present blur, where the stories of those who lived and died within its walls continue to play out in subtle, unsettling ways. Every creak of the floorboards, every sudden chill, every unexplained shadow serves as a reminder that the house remembers, that it has not forgiven, and that it holds a permanent imprint of the violence that forever changed its history. For anyone willing to step inside, the Lizzie Borden house offers a chilling encounter with the past. It is more than a historical site. It is a living memory, a structure that carries the weight of tragedy, sorrow, and unresolved spirits. Every night brings new stories, new reports of unexplained phenomena, and new glimpses of the shadows that haunt its halls. Those who leave its doors behind often do so with a heightened awareness of the past, a lingering sense of dread, and the unmistakable feeling that the house continues to watch, waiting for its next visitors to bear witness to its dark and unforgettable history. The Myrtles Plantation, located in St. Francisville, Louisiana, is often described as one of America's most haunted homes. Built atop an ancient Tunica Indian burial ground, the plantation carries a history steeped in tragedy, bloodshed, and restless spirits. Over the centuries, stories have accumulated of unexplained deaths, murders, and mysterious events, creating an atmosphere thick with paranormal energy. Local legend claims that at least 10 murders occurred on the property, each adding to the dense cloud of unrested spirits that reportedly lingers within the walls, halls, and grounds of the plantation. Visitors to the Myrtles Plantation often describe an overwhelming feeling that they are being watched, a sensation that seems to follow them from room to room. The air itself feels heavy, charged with memories of past violence and sorrow. In some of the oldest rooms, this presence is particularly intense, with reports of sudden cold spots and unexplained drafts that chill the skin despite warm Louisiana weather. The house appears to be a vessel for the residual energy of tragedy, each event from its bloody past leaving a trace that remains tangible to those who enter. One of the most famous apparitions associated with the plantation is that of a young girl wearing a green turban. She is said to appear in various rooms and hallways, sometimes standing silently, sometimes moving with an eerie purpose. Guests have reported catching glimpses of her out of the corner of their eye, only for her to vanish when looked at directly. Some believe she is the spirit of Chloe, a former enslaved woman or young resident tied to the plantation's violent past, whose life was cut tragically short. The legend suggests that her ghost is both a witness to the horrors that unfolded and a restless presence seeking acknowledgement or justice. Footsteps echo through the plantation even when it is empty. Visitors and staff alike have reported hearing the creak of floorboards, the slow pacing of someone walking in rooms above or behind them, and the sound of doors opening and closing by themselves. These occurrences often happen without pattern, appearing suddenly and disappearing just as quickly. Some guests describe hearing whispering voices or faint laughter, as if the spirits are replaying moments from their lives or deaths within the plantation's walls. The randomness of these events adds to the unsettling feeling that the house is alive, observing, and capable of interacting with its living occupants. Doors throughout the Myrtles Plantation have a reputation for moving on their own. Visitors recount instances where a door they just closed swings open without explanation, or where multiple doors open and close simultaneously, creating a sense of chaos. Some of these events are accompanied by sudden cold drafts or the faint smell of decay, amplifying the impression that unseen forces are present. The oldest rooms of the plantation, particularly those in the rear of the house, seem to be the epicenter of these disturbances, suggesting that the energy is strongest in the spaces most closely tied to the plantation's violent and sorrowful past. The plantation's grounds are not exempt from paranormal activity. Guests strolling through the gardens at dusk report seeing shadowy figures moving among the trees, often disappearing into thin air. Lights and orbs sometimes appear in photographs taken on the property, and unexplained sounds, footsteps, doors, or distant cries are frequently heard long after sunset. The combination of the plantation's natural beauty and its dark history creates a haunting contrast, making it difficult for visitors to separate the charm of the surroundings from the lingering presence of those who died in anguish on the land. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to the Myrtles Plantation for decades, seeking to document the unexplained phenomena. Many have reported unusual readings on electromagnetic detectors, sudden temperature drops, and strange photographic anomalies. Investigators describe feeling an oppressive presence that seems to weigh on the chest or affect the mind, inducing unease or fear even in the most experienced. Audio recordings occasionally capture voices or sounds that have no identifiable source, reinforcing the idea that the plantation is home to entities that remain tethered to the location. The history of the Myrtles plantation contributes to its reputation as a hub of paranormal activity. Built in the late 18th century, the home was the site of numerous deaths, from illness to violence. Many of the murders reportedly involve members of the plantation's family or staff, creating a cycle of tragedy that repeated over generations. The combination of untimely deaths, rumored acts of vengeance, and the spiritual significance of the land itself, built over an ancient burial ground, creates an environment ripe for residual energy. Visitors often sense this history almost immediately upon entering, with an instinctive understanding that the house holds more than its walls and furniture. Guests who stay overnight often report some of the most intense experiences. The plantation's bedrooms, especially those in the oldest section of the home, are sites of cold spots, unexplained sounds, and fleeting visions. Some describe waking to find personal belongings moved or bedsheets disturbed, while others hear soft footsteps pacing the room when no one is present. Lights may flicker or turn off entirely, sometimes leaving the room in near darkness, enhancing the sense of isolation and vulnerability. These experiences, repeated across numerous visitors over decades, contribute to the house's enduring legend. The Myrtles plantation is a location where history and the supernatural collide. Its stories of murder, loss, and unexplained phenomena have captivated visitors for generations, creating a narrative that blends real tragedy with lingering mystery. Guests are drawn not only to the house's antebellum beauty, but also to the chance of encountering the spirits that many claim still inhabit the property, whether it is the green-turbaned girl, the sound of footsteps, or the sudden chill in the air. The plantation offers a haunting reminder that the past is never truly gone. Walking through the Myrtles plantation, it becomes clear that this is more than a historical site. It is a living museum of sorrow, violence, and restless spirits. Every creak of the floorboards, every unexplained whisper, and every shadow moving in the corner tells a story that refuses to be forgotten. The house continues to captivate and terrify, offering visitors a glimpse into the tragic and paranormal events that have shaped its legacy. For those who dare to spend time within its walls, the Myrtles plantation is a place where the past is always present, and the echoes of its many souls are never far away. The Bell Witch House in Adams, Tennessee, is widely regarded as the epicenter of one of America's most notorious hauntings. In the early 1800s, the Bell family became the targets of a vengeful spirit whose malevolent presence would haunt the region for years, leaving an indelible mark on both local history and the broader landscape of American paranormal lore. The Bell Witch, as the entity came to be known, exhibited a wide range of terrifying behaviors, from physical assaults on family members to disembodied voices that whispered threats and curses throughout the night. Today, the house where the Bell family once lived is still said to harbor the spirit, drawing visitors and paranormal investigators eager to experience the chilling remnants of a centuries-old haunting. The saga began with John Bell, the patriarch, and his family in the early 19th century. Reports suggest that strange phenomena began subtly, with unexplained knocking, scratching, and whispers that seemed to emanate from empty rooms. Soon, however, the activity escalated dramatically. Objects were thrown across rooms, livestock behaved erratically, and members of the Bell family suffered physical attacks. These assaults were not limited to bruises or minor injuries. They were often severe, leaving both physical and psychological scars. Betsy Bell, one of John's daughters, was said to have been slapped, pinched, and struck repeatedly by an invisible force, while John himself experienced episodes in which the spirit seemed to speak directly to him, delivering ominous warnings. The Bell Witch's manifestations were not limited to physical attacks. The family reported hearing disembodied voices that conversed intelligently, mocking and taunting them, sometimes discussing private matters no outsider could have known. Witnesses claimed the entity could speak in multiple voices, sometimes mimicking family members or adopting entirely new personalities. The entity's intelligence and adaptability made it both terrifying and unnerving. It seemed aware of human behavior and able to manipulate circumstances to its advantage. Visitors to the Bell property even reported hearing these voices echoing through the trees and across the grounds. Long after the original family had passed, locals quickly took notice of the Bell Witch's activities. Neighbors and travelers reported seeing strange phenomena on the property. Shadows moving along the walls, doors slamming without cause, and lights flickering inexplicably. Animals, both domestic and wild, would behave erratically near the house, as if sensing a presence invisible to human eyes. Some residents claimed to witness ghostly apparitions in the windows or moving through the trees at night, adding to the growing reputation of the property as a site of supernatural activity. The legend spread beyond Adams, cementing the Bell Witch as a cornerstone of American ghost stories. Paranormal phenomena at the Bell Witch house continued even after the original family left. Today, visitors report sudden drops in temperature, eerie sensations of being watched, and unexplained noises that defy conventional explanation. Footsteps echo through empty rooms, lights flicker on and off without reason, and doors are observed to open or close independently. Many describe a palpable tension in the air, a feeling of malevolence that seems to cling to the walls, floors, and furnishings of the house. This persistent energy has made the Bell Witch house a focal point for ghost hunters and enthusiasts seeking to connect with one of the oldest and most storied hauntings in the United States. The Bell Witch's influence extended beyond the immediate property. Folklore suggests that the spirit targeted not only the Bell family, but anyone who visited or spoke ill of them. Some accounts describe neighbors experiencing unexplained illnesses, nightmares, or strange occurrences after encountering the entity. This reputation for pervasive influence contributed to the house's aura of dread, creating a legend that intertwines human fear, superstition, and the unknown. Even centuries later, visitors report feeling a sense of unease that is difficult to rationalize, as if the spirit's reach continues to extend beyond its original confines. Investigators and historians alike have been fascinated by the Bell Witch for generations. Documentation from the early 19th century includes detailed accounts of the haunting, describing the entity's behaviors and interactions with the Bell family in extraordinary detail. Many researchers note the consistency of reports over time, suggesting a pattern of activity that lends credibility to the accounts. Modern paranormal investigations continue to record unexplained phenomena, including anomalous audio recordings, electromagnetic disturbances, and visual anomalies captured on camera. Whether these experiences are the result of residual energy, a sentient spirit, or collective fear, they reinforce the house's status as one of America's most haunted locations. The Bell Witch house is more than a historical structure. It is a living symbol of unresolved energy, a place where the past refuses to rest. Visitors often speak of an oppressive atmosphere, as if the house itself remembers the violence, fear, and sorrow that occurred within its walls. The sensation of being watched is a recurring theme, along with cold spots that appear unpredictably, footsteps that echo through vacant corridors, and doors that move without explanation. These experiences contribute to a sense that the Bell Witch's presence remains active, continuing to assert itself in ways both subtle and overt. The legend of the Bell Witch has also inspired literature, folklore, and countless retellings in popular culture. Unlike many ghost stories, which rely on hearsay or fleeting experiences, the Bell Witch legend is rooted in extensive documentation and personal accounts from those who lived through the events. This historical grounding amplifies the haunting, making it more than a tale of superstition. It is a narrative deeply embedded in American history and culture. Every visitor to the property is stepping into a story that has unfolded over centuries. A narrative where the boundary between the living and the supernatural is fragile and uncertain. Today, the Bell Witch house continues to draw those seeking to encounter the paranormal firsthand. Tourists, historians, and ghost hunters alike are drawn to the location by the weight of its history and the persistent reports of unexplained phenomena. Cold drafts, flickering lights, shadowy figures, and phantom footsteps are all reported with startling consistency, reinforcing the legend of the Bell Witch. Each experience serves as a reminder that some histories are not easily buried, and that the echoes of past horrors can linger, waiting for the next visitor to bear witness. The Bell Witch House is more than a home. It is a testament to fear, legend, and the enduring power of the unknown. For those who step inside, it offers a chilling encounter with the past, a chance to feel the presence of a spirit that has haunted generations. Every whisper, every creak of the floorboards, and every unexplained chill serves as a reminder that some entities do not rest, that some stories do not end, and that the Bell Witch remains very much alive in the imagination. The fears of all who enter Adams, Tennessee. The Lalaurie Mansion in New Orleans, Louisiana, stands as one of the city's darkest and most infamous historic homes. A place where cruelty, death, and lingering spirits intertwine. Built in the early 1800s and owned by socialite Madame Delphine Lalaurie, the mansion gained notoriety for the horrific abuse and murder of enslaved people that took place within its walls. The mansion is not only a testament to a tragic past, but also a site where paranormal activity is said to persist, drawing ghost hunters, tourists, and thrill-seekers alike. The legend of Madame Lalaurie is central to the mansion's reputation. Known for her status among New Orleans society, she maintained a life of wealth and refinement, while hiding in unimaginable darkness behind the mansion's elegant facade. Reports of her cruelty surfaced gradually, reaching a horrifying climax in 1834 when a fire broke out at the mansion. As neighbors rushed to assist, they discovered enslaved individuals chained in hidden attic rooms. The horrifying scene revealed the extent of Lalaurie's sadistic acts and cemented the mansion's status as a symbol of human cruelty. The shockwaves of this revelation resonated through the city, marking the home as a place of both fear and fascination. Paranormal activity at the Lalaurie Mansion is widely reported and consistent across decades. Visitors frequently describe entering the property and being immediately overcome by a heavy sense of dread, as if the air itself is saturated with suffering. Sometimes faint, sometimes startlingly close, as if replaying the horrors of the past. Some describe the feeling of an invisible presence observing their every movement, creating an atmosphere that is tense, oppressive, and difficult to shake. Even those who enter during the day report sensations that are difficult to explain, with a pervasive unease that seems to cling to the walls, floors, and ceilings. Apparitions are another hallmark of the mansion's haunting. Shadowy figures have been reported in windows and hallways, often disappearing when approached. Some witnesses claim to see figures resembling the enslaved victims trapped in the rooms where they once suffered. Others report glimpses of a woman in period dress, believed to be Madame Lalaurie herself, standing silently or moving through the halls, her presence radiating an aura of control and menace. These apparitions contribute to the mansion's reputation as a place where the past is never truly gone. Unexplained physical phenomena are commonly reported by visitors. Doors have been observed to open and close on their own. Objects sometimes shift without explanation, and lights flicker in the absence of electrical issues. Cold spots appear unpredictably, often in rooms associated with the most violent acts, leaving guests chilled despite the warm climate of New Orleans. These experiences reinforce the impression that the mansion is more than a structure, carrying the echoes of pain, fear, and anger from centuries past. The mansion's reputation extends beyond those who enter it. Neighbors and passers-by have long reported strange occurrences, including ghostly shadows moving behind windows, the sound of unexplained footsteps, and occasional cries or screams drifting through the night air. Animals in the vicinity are said to behave unusually, barking or fleeing from areas that seem ordinary to the human eye. These accounts create the sense that the mansion's influence is not confined to its walls, but radiates outward, affecting all who come near. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Lalaurie Mansion, attempting to document and understand the activity that continues to surround it. Equipment often detects electromagnetic fluctuations and temperature anomalies, while audio recordings occasionally capture faint, ghostly voices or screams. Some investigators report the feeling of being physically restrained or weighed down in certain areas of the house. Photographs sometimes reveal unexplained orbs or shadowy figures, further cementing the mansion's reputation as a site of intense supernatural activity. The dark history of the Lalaurie Mansion contributes to the potency of its haunting, creating layers of residual energy that seem to persist across generations. Unlike hauntings that are considered benign, the energy here is heavy, oppressive. Visitors often leave the property with an overwhelming sense of sorrow or fear, as if the house has transferred a fraction of its dark legacy onto them. Despite its grim reputation, the mansion continues to attract attention, drawing both historians and thrill-seekers. Its striking architecture, combined with the weight of its tragic history, makes it a location that fascinates as much as it terrifies. Walking through the Lalaurie Mansion, one is confronted with a palpable tension and an enduring darkness that refuses to rest. The Lalaurie Mansion is more than a home. It is a chilling testament to cruelty and its consequences, a site where human suffering has left an indelible mark on both the physical world and the spiritual plane. Every creak of the floorboards, every flickering light, and every faint scream serves as a reminder that the past is never truly gone, and that some spirits remain forever tethered to the places where their pain began. It stands as a haunting monument in New Orleans, a place where the echoes of unimaginable suffering continue to reverberate, terrifying and captivating all who dare to enter. The Winchester House in San Jose, California, is one of the most enigmatic and haunting homes in the United States. Famous for its disorienting architecture and endless construction, the mansion was the lifelong project of Sarah Winchester, widow of William Wirt Winchester, heir to the Winchester rifle fortune. Following the death of her husband and child, Sarah reportedly sought guidance from a medium who warned her that the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles were seeking vengeance. In response, she began an obsessive building campaign, remodeling and expanding her home incessantly, a task that continued until her death in 1922. The result was a sprawling labyrinth of rooms, staircases, hallways, and hidden passageways, each seemingly designed to confuse, trap, or appease the spirits she believed haunted her. Visitors to the Winchester House often describe a sense of unease that begins the moment they approach. The sprawling mansion, with its Gothic facades and ornate detailing, carries an almost palpable aura of history and obsession. Once inside, the disorienting layout reinforces this impression. Stairways lead to ceilings, doors open into walls, and hallways twist unpredictably. Guests frequently report a sensation of being lost, even after exploring the same rooms multiple times. This architectural confusion is believed to have been intentional, a way for Sarah Winchester to outwit the spirits she feared, keeping them off balance and preventing them from finding her. Yet, in doing so, she may have created a home that naturally attracts and amplifies paranormal activity. Many accounts of the house's hauntings focus on movement and presence. Guests and employees often hear footsteps echoing through hallways long after the building has been emptied of people. These steps are described as deliberate, pacing or retracing paths as if someone or something is moving with purpose. Shadows sometimes appear at the edge of vision, flitting down hallways or peering through doorways, vanishing when looked at directly. These phenomena create the overwhelming sense that the mansion is not empty, that unseen inhabitants continue to traverse its halls. Some visitors describe the feeling of being followed, a persistent awareness of unseen eyes watching every move. The combination of visual, auditory, and physical sensations makes exploring the mansion an unnerving experience, even for those familiar with haunted locations. Disembodied voices are another frequently reported feature. Whispered words, often indistinct but chilling, seem to emanate from empty rooms. Some have claimed to hear their own names being called, sometimes repeatedly, sometimes in fragmented phrases. These voices are often accompanied by other unexplained phenomena: doors opening and closing on their own, light fixtures flickering without cause, and objects shifting inexplicably. In several cases, visitors report cold spots that appear suddenly, sometimes so intense that they leave them shivering, despite the mansion's normally temperate interior. These sudden temperature drops are often concentrated near staircases, secret passageways, or rooms with unusual architectural features, reinforcing the idea that certain areas carry residual spiritual energy. The house's complexity seems to feed the haunting. Its endless stairways, hidden rooms, and labyrinthian corridors create a natural environment for spirits to remain hidden or mobile. Paranormal investigators frequently note that strange occurrences are often linked to these architectural oddities, with activity clustering in areas that defy traditional design. Some visitors report fleeting glimpses of figures at the tops of staircases that lead nowhere, or doors that swing open into walls, only to reveal nothing behind them. Others describe a feeling of disorientation or vertigo, as if the house itself is deliberately manipulating perception to keep intruders off balance. The effect is so immersive that even skeptics often leave with a lingering sense of unease. Photographs and recordings have sometimes captured inexplicable anomalies within the Winchester house. Orbs of light, shadowy shapes, and faint outlines resembling human figures occasionally appear in rooms where no one is present. Audio devices sometimes pick up low murmurs, footsteps, or creaks that cannot be explained by the building's natural settling. While skeptics may attribute these phenomena to environmental factors, the consistency of reports from multiple visitors over decades lends credibility to the mansion's reputation as one of America's eeriest homes. The history behind the Winchester house adds a layer of psychological tension to every visit. Sarah Winchester's obsessive building and her belief in the need to appease the dead imbue the home with a story of grief, fear, and guilt. Each hallway, hidden room, and stairway is a monument to her efforts to reconcile with the spirits she feared, creating an environment charged with decades of intention and psychic energy. Visitors often report feeling this weight, a sensation that is difficult to describe but impossible to ignore. The house is not merely haunted by spirits. It is haunted by the intensity of one woman's lifelong obsession, a physical manifestation of fear made real in wood, stone, and brick. Tourists, historians, and paranormal enthusiasts continue to be drawn to the Winchester house, seeking to experience its labyrinthine corridors and eerie presence firsthand. Every unexplained noise, shadow, and sudden chill reinforces the mansion's legacy as a home where the boundaries between the living and the dead are fluid, a place where history, obsession, and the supernatural intertwine. Visitors leave with stories of footsteps, whispers, and fleeting shadows, a testament to the enduring mystery that Sarah Winchester created and the spirits she tried and, perhaps, failed to appease. The Winchester house remains more than just a historic home. It is a living maze, a vessel for past fears and lingering spirits. Each room tells a story, each stairway conceals a secret, and each corridor carries echoes of the lives and deaths tied to its construction. For those who enter, the experience is unforgettable, a chilling encounter with the unknown, a brush with restless energy, and a reminder that some houses are never truly empty. The mansion's disorienting architecture, restless spirits, and pervasive sense of being watched make it one of the most haunting and mysterious locations in the United States. A place where the living and the dead coexist in an intricate, unsettling labyrinth. The Kate Morgan House in Laguna Beach, California, is a historic hotel with a reputation for paranormal activity that has fascinated visitors for over a century. The building gained notoriety following the tragic death of Kate Morgan in 1892, who allegedly took her own life while staying there. Though more than 100 years have passed, guests and staff continue to report chilling experiences, suggesting that the energy of that fateful night has never fully dissipated. The house is now known not only for its history and architecture, but also as a hotspot for supernatural encounters, where the line between past and present often feels impossibly thin. Visitors to the Kate Morgan House frequently describe an immediate sense of unease upon entering. The hallways, though charming and reminiscent of the late 19th century, seem to carry a weight, as if the air itself is heavy with lingering sorrow. Many guests report hearing footsteps echoing softly on creaking wooden floors when no one else is around. These steps are often accompanied by a cold draft, sudden and inexplicable, that seems to brush against skin or move objects slightly. The sensation of being watched is common, with the oppressive presence growing stronger at night, when the hotel's historic charm turns into a conduit for the residual energy of tragedy. One of the most striking phenomena reported at the Kate Morgan house is the sighting of a woman in period dress wandering the halls. Guests describe her as pale, often appearing in a long white gown that reflects the fashion of the late 1800s. She is typically seen moving silently, sometimes pacing, sometimes standing still, as if contemplating, only to vanish when approached. Many interpret these appearances as the lingering spirit of Kate Morgan herself, forever tied to the place of her death. The ghostly figure has become an iconic presence within the house, embodying the sorrow and unrest that permeates the building. In addition to visual phenomena, the hotel is known for objects moving on their own. Doors sometimes open or close without explanation, and small items may be found in different locations from where they were left. Guests report lights flickering unpredictably, adding to the atmosphere of uncertainty and unease. Some visitors have described hearing whispers or faint cries, particularly in the late hours, as if fragments of conversation or moments from the past are repeating themselves. These experiences are often concentrated around the areas where Kate Morgan spent her final hours, suggesting that her presence continues to influence the energy of the space. The house's architecture and layout contribute to its haunting reputation. The narrow hallways, tall ceilings, and antique furnishings create an intimate environment where every sound and movement is amplified. The creaking floorboards and the echo of footsteps seem to resonate differently here than in other historic buildings, enhancing the sense that the mansion itself is alive. Many who have stayed overnight describe a profound feeling of vulnerability, as though the spirits are aware of their presence and are observing them closely. It is this combination of historical tragedy and lingering energy that makes the Kate Morgan house such a compelling sight for those interested in the paranormal. Numerous investigations and anecdotal accounts have documented these occurrences. Paranormal enthusiasts often bring recording devices, EMF meters, and cameras to capture evidence of the unexplained. Some report hearing faint voices or recording audio that later reveals whispers or groans, while photographs sometimes capture unexplained light anomalies or shadowy figures. Despite the lack of definitive proof, the consistency of reports over more than a century lends credibility to the notion that the house is more than just a building. It is a repository of emotional energy left behind by the life and death of Kate Morgan. The emotional weight of the house extends beyond the reported phenomena. Guests frequently remark on the atmosphere of sadness and melancholy that seems to pervade certain rooms. Sitting in the parlor or walking down the hallways, visitors often feel a heavy presence pressing in, a lingering aura of sorrow and unresolved tension. Some describe feeling a sudden urge to leave specific areas, compelled by the intensity of the emotional energy. Others, drawn by curiosity, stay longer, hoping to witness a glimpse of the spirit that has made this historic hotel so famous. Over the years, the Kate Morgan house has become a popular destination for those intrigued by history, mystery, and the supernatural. Tours and overnight stays allow visitors to experience firsthand the eerie phenomena that have been reported for generations. From the soft footsteps to the cold drafts, from the moving objects to the shadowy figure in period attire, each experience reinforces the sense that the house carries the weight of the past into the present. Guests leave with stories of encounters that defy explanation, a lingering chill, and an awareness that some histories leave more than memories. They leave echoes, imprints, and spirits that refuse to rest. The enduring allure of the Kate Morgan house lies in its ability to blend history and the supernatural seamlessly. The tragic story of Kate Morgan, the period architecture, and the strange occurrences reported over more than a century all converge to create an environment that is both fascinating and unsettling. Visitors are confronted with the past in a tangible way, reminded that some events leave marks that persist far beyond the lifetimes of those involved. The house remains a haunting monument to tragedy, a place where sorrow, curiosity, and the supernatural intertwine, and where the presence of Kate Morgan is felt by anyone willing or unlucky enough to spend time within its walls. For those who walk its hallways at night, the Kate Morgan House is more than a historic hotel. It is a living reminder of a life cut short, of sorrow that never faded, and of a presence that continues to haunt the building with quiet persistence. Every creak, every whisper, and every shadow tells a story of a woman forever linked to the place of her death, ensuring that the house remains a chilling and unforgettable sight for all who enter. The Jesse James home in St. Joseph, Missouri, is a historic site shrouded in legend, tragedy, and lingering unease. This modest house, the scene of the notorious outlaw's death in 1882, has become a magnet for those fascinated by both history and the paranormal. Jesse James, infamous for his daring robberies and violent exploits, met his end here at the hands of Robert Ford, a member of his own gang who sought the reward money offered for James' capture. While the story of James' betrayal has been retold countless times, the house itself has become a repository of strange phenomena, with visitors and staff alike reporting experiences that suggest the outlaw's presence has never truly left. From the moment guests step into the Jesse James home, there is a palpable tension in the air. Many describe an immediate sense of being watched, a subtle yet unnerving sensation that someone or something is observing their every move. The house, though modest in size and unassuming in appearance, seems to hold the weight of its violent past. Visitors often report sudden cold spots, inexplicable chills that sweep through rooms where James once lived. These temperature drops are accompanied by the feeling that unseen eyes are tracking their movement, creating an atmosphere thick with apprehension and lingering dread. Perhaps the most reported phenomenon is the apparition of Jesse James himself. Guests have described fleeting glimpses of a man dressed in 19th century attire, standing silently in hallways or appearing near the doorway where he met his end. Some witnesses report seeing him pacing the floor, as if reliving the moments leading to his murder. The figure is often described as both solid and ghostly, appearing with enough detail to recognize the period clothing but fading away when approached. These sightings are typically accompanied by a sense of unease, a reminder that the events of that fateful day remain etched into the very walls of the house. Whispers are another common feature of the haunting. Visitors have reported hearing murmurs recounting the events surrounding James' final hours, often unintelligible at first, but occasionally forming fragments of phrases that describe the betrayal by Robert Ford or the fear James may have felt in his final moments. These voices are heard in otherwise quiet rooms and hallways, sometimes appearing to follow guests as they move through the house. The whispers, combined with the sensation of being watched, reinforce the sense that the spirit of Jesse James continues to linger, unwilling to leave the site of his demise. Objects and features of the home also seem to respond to the presence of the past. Doors occasionally swing open or close without explanation, and the creaking of floorboards can be heard even when the house is empty. Some visitors have noted small disturbances, such as books or papers shifting slightly on shelves, or chairs appearing moved from their original positions. These subtle movements, when combined with the visual and auditory phenomena, create an immersive experience that is difficult to dismiss as coincidence. The house's layout contributes to the unsettling atmosphere. Narrow hallways, low ceilings, and intimate rooms amplify sound, making every creak, whisper, or footstep more pronounced. Guests report that the air feels dense in certain areas, particularly near the room where Jesse James was shot. Many describe this space as particularly charged, with the energy of that violent day lingering like a tangible presence. The combination of the house's physical structure and the weight of its history seems to intensify the paranormal activity, leaving visitors with the distinct impression that the past is always near. Paranormal investigators frequently visit the Jesse James home, attempting to document the strange occurrences. EMF readings, audio recordings, and photographs occasionally capture anomalies, shadowy shapes, unexplained noises, or cold spots where no drafts exist. Investigators note that activity is often centered around areas historically connected to James' life and death, suggesting a direct link between the energy of the house and the events that unfolded there. Even skeptics, after spending time in the house, often report a lingering sense of unease, a feeling that the walls themselves carry the memory of betrayal and death. The psychological weight of the Jesse James home adds another layer to its haunting. Guests are aware that this is the location where one of America's most infamous outlaws met a violent end, and that awareness seems to enhance the intensity of the experience. Walking through the rooms, visitors often feel the convergence of history and the supernatural, as if the house serves as a vessel preserving both memory and spirit. The combination of historical significance, violent tragedy, and reported paranormal activity creates a powerful atmosphere that continues to captivate and terrify in equal measure. For those who spend time in the Jesse James home, the experience is unforgettable. Every creak, whisper, and flicker of movement serves as a reminder that the story of Jesse James is not confined to books or legends. It is alive within the walls of the home where he was betrayed and killed. Visitors leave with stories of shadows, footsteps, and whispers, carrying the impression that the outlaw's restless spirit remains ever vigilant, forever tied to the site of his untimely death. The Jesse James home stands as more than a historic site. It is a haunting monument to betrayal, violence, and the persistence of the past. Its combination of visual apparitions, auditory phenomena, and oppressive atmosphere makes it one of the most chilling locations in the United States, a place where history and the supernatural intersect in a way that leaves a lasting impression. The house ensures that Jesse James, in death as in life, remains a figure who cannot be ignored, his presence felt by all who step across the threshold. The Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa, is one of the most notorious haunted locations in the United States, a place where history and horror converge with unnerving intensity. On a quiet night in June 1912, the shocking crime stunned the small town and has never been definitively solved. Over a century later, the house remains a chilling reminder of that night, attracting visitors, paranormal investigators, and thrill-seekers drawn to its dark legacy. From the moment guests step inside the Villisca Axe Murder House, the atmosphere is heavy with the memory of violence. The rooms, preserved to resemble the home's original condition, carry an oppressive energy that many describe as immediately unsettling. Visitors often report a sensation of being watched, as though unseen eyes are tracking every movement. The bedrooms where the murders occurred are particularly charged, with countless reports of sudden cold spots, unexplained noises, and a palpable feeling of dread that seems to cling to the walls. The history of the house makes these sensations even more intense, as guests confront both the reality of the crime and the lingering presence of its victims. Auditory phenomena are among the most commonly reported experiences in the house. Overnight guests frequently hear disembodied screams or muffled cries, as if replaying the horror of that fateful night. Footsteps can be heard pacing the halls, often in sync with the layout of the house as it was in 1912, giving the impression that someone is moving methodically through the rooms. Some visitors report faint laughter, eerie in its innocence, yet chilling given the context of the murders. The combination of these sounds creates an immersive experience that can be deeply unsettling, particularly for those staying overnight. Visual manifestations are also widely reported. Shadowy figures have been seen in the bedrooms, hallways, and attic, sometimes appearing to reenact portions of the murders. Witnesses describe fleeting glimpses of figures in nightclothes, moving silently, or appearing from corners before vanishing. Others report seeing forms that seem to linger near beds, as though tied to the moment of death itself. These apparitions are often accompanied by sudden drops in temperature or the feeling of invisible pressure, leaving guests with the eerie impression that the events of June 10, 1912, continue to play out within the house. Physical sensations add another layer to the haunting. Many visitors claim to feel invisible hands gripping their shoulders or tugging at their clothing, especially in the bedrooms where the murders occurred. Some have described an overwhelming sense of heaviness while standing in the center of the house, as if an unseen presence is pressing down upon them. Others report nausea, dizziness, or the sudden urge to leave a particular room, driven by an instinctive fear that cannot be explained by the mind alone. These experiences are often reported alongside auditory and visual phenomena, creating a multi-sensory encounter with the house's dark energy. The layout and preservation of the house contribute to the intensity of the haunting. The rooms remain largely unchanged from the day of the murders, with original furnishings, beds, and personal belongings still in place. The narrow hallways, low ceilings, and small rooms amplify sounds and heighten a feeling of claustrophobia, making every creak of the floorboards or whisper of air more pronounced. Visitors often remark on the disorienting effect of the house's design, which seems to draw attention to the areas of tragedy, ensuring that the memory of the crimes is never distant. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Valeska axe murder house, attempting to capture evidence of the unexplained. EMF readings often fluctuate unpredictably, temperature sensors register sudden drops, and audio recordings occasionally reveal whispers, screams, or footsteps that cannot be attributed to natural causes. Photographs sometimes capture shadowy forms or orbs that defy logical explanation. Despite these findings, the true nature of the house's haunting remains elusive, with each visitor experiencing the phenomena in unique and deeply personal ways. The psychological weight of the Valeska axe murder house enhances the intensity of its paranormal activity. Guests are acutely aware that the house was the site of one of America's most brutal family murders, and this knowledge amplifies the fear and tension that permeate the building. Every creak, every whisper, and every shadow is interpreted through the lens of that knowledge, creating an experience where history and the supernatural are inseparable. The combination of real tragedy and reported hauntings makes the house a uniquely unsettling location, where the past feels vividly present and impossible to ignore. For those who stay overnight, the Valeska axe murder house offers an unforgettable and harrowing experience. Some leave with only stories of strange noises or cold drafts, while others recount encounters with shadowy figures, footsteps, and the sensation of being physically touched by unseen hands. Each report reinforces the idea that the energy of that tragic night has not dissipated, that the house itself serves as a vessel for the memories and anguish of those who perished within its walls. The Valeska axe murder house stands today as more than a historic building. It is a haunting monument to one of the darkest nights in American history. Its preserved rooms, chilling phenomena, and stories of ghostly encounters make it a place where the boundary between life and death feels thin. Visitors confront both history and the supernatural, walking through the same spaces where horror unfolded over a century ago. The house continues to terrify and fascinate, ensuring that the memory of the Moore family and the night of the axe murders endures, carried forward by every creak, whisper, and shadow that lingers within its walls. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, is one of the most iconic haunted hotels in the United States. Its grand facade, historic charm, and breathtaking views of the Rocky Mountains draw countless visitors each year. Yet beneath its elegant exterior lies a history filled with unexplained occurrences and restless spirits. Famed for inspiring Stephen King's The Shining, the hotel has become a focal point for paranormal enthusiasts and curious travelers, eager to experience its eerie reputation firsthand. Guests, staff, and investigators alike report a variety of strange phenomena, from ghostly piano music and flickering lights to the unsettling presence of figures dressed in early 20th century attire. The Stanley's combination of history, luxury, and supernatural activity makes it a uniquely compelling and chilling location. The hotel first opened its doors in 1909, designed by Freeland Oscar Stanley, a wealthy inventor and entrepreneur. Its architecture and interiors reflect the elegance of the era, with grand hallways, ornate furnishings, and expansive rooms. Yet, despite its luxurious appearance, many visitors feel an inexplicable tension upon entering the building. Seems to carry an energy beyond the ordinary, a mixture of history and unresolved spirits that lingers in its corridors. Guests frequently report an immediate sense of being watched or followed, as though the past occupants of the hotel have never truly left. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the sound of piano music. Visitors and staff alike claim to hear the delicate tones of a piano echoing through the hallways, even when the grand piano in the hotel lounge is untouched. The music is often described as soft and haunting, played with a skill that suggests a presence unseen yet entirely familiar with the instrument. Some say the music corresponds with specific events or rooms, growing louder or more distinct in areas where ghostly activity is most pronounced. This spectral performance has become a defining feature of the Stanley Hotel's paranormal reputation. Rooms 217 and 418 are particularly active, drawing attention from both guests and paranormal investigators. Room 217 is famously associated with the experiences that inspired Stephen King, who stayed in the hotel in the 1970s. Visitors report objects moving inexplicably, doors slamming without cause, and sudden cold spots that chilled the air despite the hotel's normally temperate climate. Guests often describe an unsettling sensation of being observed, accompanied by soft whispers or murmurs that seem to originate from the corners of the room. Some have even claimed to see shadowy figures standing silently near the bed, vanishing when directly confronted. Room 418 also has a reputation for intense paranormal activity. Guests report hearing footsteps pacing the hallways outside, despite no one being present. Doors and drawers open and close, seemingly on their own, and personal items occasionally appear rearranged or misplaced. Some visitors describe an overwhelming sense of unease upon entering the room, as if the energy of the past is pressing down upon them. The hotel's common areas are also sites of frequent paranormal reports. Hallways echo with footsteps, often heard long after the building has been emptied for the night. Mirrors occasionally reflect figures that are not present, and staff members have reported sudden, unexplained chills when walking through certain corridors. Some believe that the hotel itself acts as a conduit for energy, amplifying the experiences of both guests and spirits within its walls. These phenomena are not isolated. They are repeated by multiple witnesses over decades, creating a consistent and compelling record of unexplained activity. Many of the reported ghosts are described as being dressed in early 20th century attire, reflecting the hotel ese original era. Figures in formal suits and elegant dresses are sometimes glimpsed walking through hallways or sitting quietly in the lounge. Witnesses often describe these apparitions as fully formed and moving with purpose, yet disappearing without warning when approached. These encounters contribute to the impression that the Stanley Hotel is not merely haunted by residual energy, but by conscious spirits who remain aware of their surroundings. Over the years, paranormal investigators have extensively studied the hotel, attempting to document its activity through audio, video, and electromagnetic field readings. Recordings often capture unexplained sounds, including whispers, creaks, and soft footsteps. Video footage occasionally reveals shadowy forms or moving objects with no discernible source. Temperature fluctuations are common, particularly near rooms with a history of activity, reinforcing the idea that certain areas of the hotel are focal points for paranormal energy. Despite these attempts to quantify the phenomena, much of the Stanley Hotel's haunting remains subjective, experienced differently by each guest and investigator, yet consistently reported in strikingly similar patterns. The psychological impact of staying at the Stanley Hotel is profound. Guests often report an immediate sense of tension, a feeling that the building is alive and aware. Even skeptical visitors sometimes leave with stories of unexplained noises, fleeting shadows, or inexplicable cold spots. The combination of history, architecture, and persistent paranormal activity creates an environment that is difficult to forget, leaving a lasting impression long after the visit has ended. The Stanley Hotel remains more than a historic building. It is a living testament to the intersection of human experience, tragedy, and the supernatural. Its haunted reputation, combined with its architectural beauty and historical significance, ensures that it continues to attract those seeking both luxury and a brush with the unknown. From ghostly piano music to apparitions in period attire, the Stanley's paranormal activity offers a glimpse into a past that refuses to remain silent. Visitors leave with stories of shadows, footsteps, and unexplained phenomena, carrying with them the memory of a hotel where the spirits of the past linger, ever present and impossible to ignore. For anyone stepping into the Stanley Hotel, the experience is unforgettable, a chilling blend of history, luxury, and the supernatural. Every hallway, room, and corridor tells a story, each event a reminder that some buildings are never truly empty. The Stanley Hotel remains an enduring symbol of haunted America, a place where the line between the living and the dead is not only crossed but continually blurred. The Amityville Horror House at 112 Ocean Avenue in Long Island, New York, has become one of the most infamous haunted homes in the world. Its notoriety began in 1975 when the Lutz family moved in, unaware of the grisly history that had stained the house. Just a year prior, Ronald DeFeo Jr. had murdered 6 members of his family inside the same home, an act so shocking that it reverberated through the community and captured national attention. The Lutz family's 28-day ordeal transformed the house from a tragic crime scene into a global symbol of paranormal horror. And even decades later, its chilling reputation continues to draw visitors, paranormal enthusiasts, and skeptics alike. The Lutz family reported a series of terrifying events almost immediately after moving in. They spoke of cold spots that seemed to move throughout the house, disembodied whispers that echoed in empty rooms, and furniture that shifted on its own. Doors slammed without cause, lights flickered erratically, and the sense of malevolent presence was pervasive. Perhaps the most disturbing experiences involved visions of figures that seemed inhuman faces, that appeared in mirrors or peered from darkened corners, often contorted with anger or malice. For the Lutzes, these experiences were so intense that they fled the house after less than a month, leaving behind their personal belongings and the home they had hoped would be a fresh start. Over the years, the Amityville house has continued to inspire fear and fascination, with numerous visitors reporting supernatural phenomena that echo the Lutz family's experiences. Local residents often speak of strange green slime that seems to ooze inexplicably from the walls, a phenomenon that defies logical explanation and heightens the house's eerie reputation. These substances appear sporadically, sometimes appearing overnight or after a period of rain, and vanish as mysteriously as they emerge, leaving only lingering dread in their wake. The slime is often described as viscous and unearthly, reinforcing the sense that the house itself is an active vessel for dark energy. Temperature anomalies are another hallmark of the Amityville Horror House. Visitors frequently experience sudden, unnatural cold spots, even during the warmth of summer. These chills are localized, often following individuals as they move through rooms, creating the unsettling impression that unseen hands or presences are tracking their every step. Some witnesses describe feeling an oppressive weight or invisible pressure, as though the house itself is conscious and deliberately asserting its influence over those inside. The combination of cold spots, whispers, and moving objects creates a multi-dimensional haunting, one that affects not only sight and sound, but touch and intuition. Visual phenomena at the house remain equally disturbing. People claim to see demonic faces staring from windows, particularly on the second floor, where some of the most harrowing events were reported by the Lutz family. These faces are often fleeting, appearing only for a moment before vanishing, yet leaving a lasting impression of menace. Shadows are another common report, frequently moving independently of light sources or human activity. Some visitors even describe full-bodied apparitions, figures that appear fully formed and walk through rooms before disappearing into walls or corners, reinforcing the idea that the house is a living repository of malevolent energy. The house's notoriety has attracted countless paranormal investigators and thrill seekers over the years. Cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic field meters have captured a range of anomalies, including unexplained noises, shadowy movements, and temperature fluctuations. Many investigators report feeling watched or followed during their visits, experiences that mirror the Lutz family's original accounts. While skeptics often question the validity of these claims, the consistency and volume of reports spanning decades suggest that something beyond ordinary explanation lingers within the walls of 112 Ocean Avenue. Even the neighborhood surrounding the house seems affected by its presence. Locals often speak of an uncomfortable atmosphere when near the property, with a palpable sense of dread that cannot be explained by the house's physical appearance alone. Visitors have described hearing whispers or feeling sudden chills while walking past a yard, and some have claimed to see strange lights or shadowy figures moving behind curtained windows. The home's dark legacy appears to extend beyond its walls, creating an aura that permeates the immediate area and draws attention from those attuned to paranormal activity. The cultural impact of the Amityville Horror House cannot be overstated. Its story has inspired books, movies, and documentaries, cementing its place in the pantheon of haunted locations worldwide. Yet beyond its role in popular culture, the house remains a site of genuine fear and fascination. People continue to report personal encounters that defy explanation, demonstrating that the energy associated with past tragedies has not diminished over time. The home is a vivid reminder that history, particularly violent or tragic history, can leave an indelible mark, one that resonates across decades and continues to affect those who enter. For those who step inside or near the house, the experience is unforgettable. Every cold draft, whispered sound, or fleeting shadow reinforces the understanding that 112 Ocean Avenue is more than a mere structure. It is a living testament to violence, fear, and the unknown. The green slime, sudden temperature drops, and glimpses of demonic faces are manifestations of a past that refuses to remain buried, drawing the present into a chilling dialogue with history. The Amityville Horror House endures as both a symbol and a reality of paranormal horror. Its infamy is well learned, rooted in a combination of real-life tragedy and ongoing reports of supernatural activity. Visitors leave with stories of shadows, whispers, and unexplainable phenomena, carrying with them the knowledge that some places retain the energy of the events that occurred within them. 112 Ocean Avenue remains an enduring monument to fear, a chilling reminder that the past is never truly gone and that certain histories leave echoes that refuse to fade. Alamo Village in Brackettville, Texas, is a location where history, cinema, and the supernatural collide in a way that is both fascinating and chilling. Originally constructed as a film set in the 1950s for John Wayne's iconic movie, The Alamo, the site was designed to recreate the 1836 battle between Texan revolutionaries and Mexican forces. Over time, however, Alamo Village has developed a reputation for unexplained activity, with visitors and staff reporting experiences that suggest the area is haunted, not only by the echoes of history, but by spirits lingering long after the cameras stopped rolling. The property's open plains, reconstructed fort, and old buildings provide a dramatic backdrop for encounters that blur the lines between reality and the supernatural. Guests who visit Alamo Village frequently describe hearing the sounds of battle when the location should be quiet. At night, the wind seems to carry the echo of musket fire, cannon blasts, and shouts, as if the famous battle itself is being replayed in spectral form. Some visitors have claimed to hear the clash of swords and the cries of men in pain, all originating from areas where no human presence is visible. The effect is unnerving, creating the impression that the spirits of the soldiers who perished in conflict have returned to continue the fight, forever trapped on the grounds of Alamo Village. Visual sightings are also common. People report seeing figures in period clothing moving across the grounds or standing atop the reconstructed fortifications. These apparitions sometimes appear engaged in active marching, dueling, or preparing for battle, before fading away without a trace. Witnesses often describe a sense of disbelief and fear when encountering these visions, noting that the figures appear solid and tangible, yet vanish the moment they are approached. The combination of open spaces and historical reenactment visuals makes these sightings particularly striking, as the human eye struggles to reconcile the ghostly presence with the real landscape. Sudden temperature changes are another hallmark of Alamo Village's paranormal activity. Visitors often report feeling abrupt drops in temperature, especially in areas associated with historical structures or moments of intense activity. Cold spots can occur outdoors, on the open plains, making the phenomenon particularly eerie, as there are no walls or enclosed spaces to explain the chill. Inside the reconstructed buildings, the air sometimes feels heavy and oppressive, leaving visitors with a lingering sense of unease. Some have described these temperature shifts as accompanied by physical sensations, goosebumps, shivers, or the feeling of being watched, which intensifies the overall impact of the experience. Footsteps and other auditory anomalies are also frequently reported. Guests often hear the rhythm of marching soldiers or the sound of boots on wooden floors when no one is present. Doors creak, windows rattle, and the occasional metallic clang is heard, as though equipment from the era has been set into motion by unseen hands. These phenomena are not limited to any single location. They appear throughout the village, from the open grounds to the buildings used in film productions. The unpredictable nature of these occurrences adds to the sense that Alamo Village is alive with the echoes of the past, a space where history and the supernatural intersect. Some visitors have experienced more personal encounters, reporting the sensation of being followed or observed. Guests recount seeing shadows flitting just beyond their peripheral vision, or feeling a presence beside them that vanishes when they turn. Others claim to have felt invisible hands brush against them or tug at clothing, particularly near the fort or in hallways of the original film set structures. These encounters often leave witnesses shaken, reinforcing the notion that the spirits inhabiting Alamo Village are aware of the living and continue to interact with their surroundings. Alamo Village also seems to preserve the energy of cinematic history. Staff and longtime visitors have noted that areas used for filming, especially John Wayne's original set pieces, tend to concentrate paranormal activity. Objects occasionally move on their own, doors swing open or closed without explanation, and lights flicker unpredictably. It is as if the combined energy of historical tragedy and cinematic reenactment has merged, creating a unique environment where the supernatural is more active and more noticeable than in typical haunted locations. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to Alamo Village, using cameras, audio equipment, and temperature sensors to document activity. Many report capturing audio anomalies, whispers, shouts, or distant musket fire that cannot be attributed to external sources. Some video footage has revealed shadowy figures moving across open fields or within buildings, further supporting eyewitness accounts. These findings, combined with decades of first-hand reports from visitors, contribute to the village's reputation as a hub of paranormal phenomena, and make it a focal point for those seeking a tangible connection to both history and the supernatural. The psychological impact of Alamo Village is as significant as the physical phenomena. Guests often describe the experience as immersive and intense, walking through spaces where the past feels vividly alive. The open fields, reconstructed fort, and period buildings make the ghostly encounters more tangible, giving the sense that visitors are witnessing history replayed through spectral actors. The combination of real historical significance, cinematic legacy, and reported paranormal activity creates an experience that is both awe-inspiring and terrifying, leaving a lasting impression on those who enter. Alamo Village in Brackettville, Texas, is far more than a film set or tourist attraction. It is a living testament to the collision of history, tragedy, and the supernatural. From ghostly battle cries and apparitions in period attire to cold spots and unexplained touches, the village offers an experience that challenges perception and lingers long after the visit ends. The wide open spaces, historic structures, and eerie energy ensure that Alamo Village remains a site of fascination and fear. a place where the past is never truly gone, and the echoes of history continue to haunt those who dare to explore its grounds. The Henry Ford Estate in Dearborn, Michigan, stands as a grand monument to innovation, wealth, and American history. Yet beneath its stately facade and meticulously maintained gardens lies a darker, more mysterious presence. Over the years, guests, staff, and paranormal investigators have reported an array of unexplained phenomena, suggesting that the mansion is not only a historic landmark, but also a site of lingering spirits. Several rooms are said to be particularly active, with reports of whispering voices, moving objects, and shadowy apparitions concentrated in the dining halls, corridors, and attic spaces. The estate, which reflects both the grandeur and the private life of one of America's most iconic industrialists, has quietly gained a reputation as one of Michigan's most haunted estates. The mansion itself is an imposing structure, filled with finely crafted woodwork, elaborate furnishings, and artifacts from the Ford family's history. Visitors often remark on the sense of history that permeates every room, a tangible weight of the past that seems to linger in the corners and hallways. For those who have experienced the estate's paranormal activity, this history is not just visible, it's audible, tactile, and even visible in fleeting forms. Some say that walking through the mansion is like walking through a living memory, where the echoes of the past refuse to remain silent. One of the most commonly reported phenomena at the estate is the sound of whispering voices. Staff and guests alike describe hearing conversations that have no discernible source, often drifting through the dining halls or along the long corridors leading to the attic. These whispers are sometimes clear enough to catch individual words, yet their origin remains impossible to pinpoint. Guests have reported hearing discussions in languages no longer commonly spoken, or fragments of old family conversations, as if the mansion itself preserves the voices of those who once inhabited it. These auditory experiences can be deeply unsettling, particularly in rooms that appear otherwise empty. Shadowy apparitions are another frequent occurrence. Visitors have described seeing figures dressed in early 20th century attire, moving silently through hallways or appearing in the periphery of vision. Some witnesses report observing these forms in the dining hall, where staff once labored or where the Ford family entertained guests, while others have seen apparitions on staircases or near attic doors. These figures often vanish when approached, leaving only the lingering impression of someone having been present moments before. The combination of historic architecture, dimly lit corridors, and these ghostly figures creates an immersive and unnerving experience for those who venture into the mansion after hours. Staff members have reported chairs shifting slightly in the dining hall, doors opening or closing without explanation, and small items being relocated in ways that defy logical explanation. While some may attribute these events to natural causes or human error, the consistency of reports over the years suggests that at least some phenomena are truly unexplainable. These occurrences are often accompanied by subtle environmental changes, such as sudden drafts or temperature fluctuations, which heighten a sense that the mansion is not simply a house, but a living entity, sensitive to presence and energy. The attic, in particular, is a focal point for paranormal activity. Its narrow corridors, low ceilings, and stored artifacts create an atmosphere conducive to both imagination and heightened sensory perception. Guests who venture into the attic often report the feeling of being followed, hearing footsteps behind them, or encountering shadows that seem to move independently. Cold spots frequently appear in this area, sometimes accompanied by a feeling of pressure or unease. Many investigators suggest that the attic's history as a storage space for family belongings, combined with its relative isolation from the main house, concentrates the lingering energy of past occupants, making it one of the estate's most intense areas for paranormal activity. Over the years, numerous paranormal investigators have attempted to document the phenomena at the Henry Ford estate. Audio recordings often capture faint whispers or murmurs, while video footage sometimes reveals unexplained shadows or anomalies in reflective surfaces. Electromagnetic field detectors occasionally spike in rooms where activity has been reported, further supporting the idea that unseen forces may be at work. Despite these technological attempts to measure and understand the supernatural, much of the haunting remains subjective, experienced differently by each visitor, yet consistently described across decades of reports. Visitors often describe the psychological impact of the estate as profound. Even skeptics sometimes leave with a sense of unease or a lingering impression that the house is alive with presence. The combination of historical significance, architectural grandeur, and repeated paranormal occurrences creates an atmosphere that is immersive and haunting. Guests frequently remark that the house feels aware of their presence, as though the spirits of former staff and family members continue to observe, interact, and guard their home long after death. The Henry Ford Estate's blend of history and haunting offers a unique experience. Unlike some haunted locations that are purely eerie or macabre, the mansion carries the weight of lived human history, with every room echoing both achievement and loss. Guests may encounter faint whispers in the dining hall, feel the tug of unseen hands in narrow corridors, or glimpse shadowy forms in the attic, all of which serve as reminders that the past is never fully gone. The estate is more than a museum. It is a living testament to memory, energy, and unresolved presence. In the end, the Henry Ford Estate remains a site where history and the supernatural converge. Whispering voices, moving objects, and shadowy figures combine to create an experience that is both fascinating and chilling. Visitors leave with stories that linger long after they have departed, carrying with them the knowledge that some homes retain the presence of those who once walked their halls. The mansion continues to captivate, terrify, and inspire. A reminder that in places steeped in history, the echoes of the past can be as real as the present. The Bellamy Mansion in Wilmington, North Carolina, stands as an impressive example of antebellum architecture. A grand home built in the mid-19th century that reflects both the wealth of the Bellamy family and the troubled history of the region. Yet behind its stately facade and meticulously preserved interiors lies a darker legacy, one that has earned the mansion a reputation as one of the most haunted historic homes in the South. Over the years, visitors, staff, and paranormal investigators have reported a variety of unexplained phenomena, suggesting that the spirits of former inhabitants and those who lived in servitude on the estate continue to linger within its walls. The mansion's ornate rooms, sweeping staircases, and dimly lit corridors provide the perfect backdrop for experiences that are as unsettling as they are mysterious, blending the grandeur of history with the chilling presence of the supernatural. One of the most commonly reported experiences at the Bellamy Mansion involves the sound of footsteps echoing through empty hallways. Guests and staff alike describe hearing the rhythm of someone walking above or below them when no one else is present. These footsteps often occur near the grand staircase or in corridors leading to bedrooms, and they have a cadence that suggests a deliberate, purposeful movement rather than a random creaking of old floors. Visitors have recounted pausing mid-tour, feeling a sudden tension in the air, only to realize that the footsteps seem to follow them from room to room. The phenomenon creates an unnerving sense of being accompanied by a presence that cannot be seen, a ghostly reminder of the mansion's long and complicated past. Disembodied voices are another hallmark of the Bellamy Mansion's haunting. Guests often report hearing whispers, fragments of conversations, or even muffled calls for help coming from areas where no one is visible. These voices are sometimes identified as belonging to the Bellamy family, echoing the language and tone of the 19th century, while other times they are believed to be the spirits of enslaved workers who lived and toiled on the property. The content of these voices is often indistinct, yet the emotional weight, whether sorrow, frustration, or anger, is palpable. Some visitors describe the whispers as urging them to move, to turn, or even to leave, creating an atmosphere of tension that is difficult to shake. Flickering candlelight is frequently reported in rooms where no candles or lights are burning. Guests have seen lights dance along walls, casting moving shadows that seem to form human shapes or gestures. In some cases, the flame appears to bend toward the observer, illuminating objects or corners of the room that might otherwise remain in shadow. The effect is subtle, yet deeply unsettling, reinforcing the sense that unseen eyes are watching and that the mansion itself is alive with energy from the past. In combination with the footsteps and voices, the flickering lights contribute to an environment where visitors feel both the grandeur and the eerie weight of history. Temperature anomalies are also common within the Bellamy Mansion. Many visitors report sudden drops in temperature, often localized to particular rooms or areas. These cold spots frequently occur near the dining room, the grand staircase, or bedrooms formerly occupied by the Bellamy family. The chill is often accompanied by a sensation of heaviness or pressure, as if the air itself carries the weight of the spirits present. Some guests have described goosebumps or shivers that cannot be attributed to environmental conditions, further amplifying the mansion's reputation for paranormal activity. Shadowy figures have been observed moving throughout the mansion, sometimes lingering just at the edge of vision and disappearing when directly looked at. Witnesses describe silhouettes of men and women dressed in period attire, gliding through hallways, appearing in doorways, or hovering near staircases. These figures are often fleeting but leave a lasting impression, giving the sensation that the past is not only present but actively observing the living. In some reports, these apparitions appear to interact with the environment, pausing near furniture or doors before vanishing entirely, suggesting a connection to the memories and activities of the original occupants. Some visitors have reported feeling a strong sense of being watched, a psychological phenomenon that is particularly pronounced in the mansion's darker corners or during private tours. The sensation is often described as both heavy and intrusive, creating the feeling that unseen eyes are following every movement. While some might attribute this to the mind's response to an eerie environment, the consistency of reports over decades suggests that there is more at play, an energy or presence that transcends ordinary explanation. The mansion's history is inseparable from its hauntings. Built in 1859 by John D. Bellamy, a wealthy merchant and plantation owner, the home was both a family residence and a center of social life in Wilmington. However, the estate was also a site of enforced labor, with enslaved people performing the grueling work required to maintain the property. The presence of these lives, both privileged and oppressed, is often cited as the source of the lingering energy felt by visitors. Many believe that the spirits of both the Bellamy family and the enslaved workers continue to inhabit the mansion. Their interactions are a reflection of a complex and often painful history. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Bellamy Mansion, using cameras, audio equipment, and electromagnetic field detectors to document activity. Many report capturing unusual sounds, shadowy figures, or temperature fluctuations, which often corroborate eyewitness accounts. While skeptics remain, the wealth of anecdotal evidence from generations of visitors suggests that the mansion harbors unexplained phenomena that cannot be easily dismissed. Walking through the Bellamy Mansion is to encounter history in its most vivid and unsettling form. The combination of ghostly footsteps, disembodied voices, flickering candlelight, sudden chills, and shadowy figures creates an immersive experience where the past and present converge. Visitors leave with a sense that the mansion is more than a historic home. It is a living monument to memory, suffering, and the unseen presences that linger long after life has ended. The Bellamy Mansion continues to captivate, terrify, and inspire those who explore its halls. Every step through its corridors is a reminder that history leaves echoes, and that some estates, no matter how grand, retain the spirits of those who once lived, worked, and struggled within their walls. For all who enter, the mansion is a place where the past is never truly gone, and where the whispers of yesterday continue to resonate in the present. The Cooper Castle in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, stands as a striking relic of 19th century architecture. A sprawling estate with a storied past that blends grandeur, tragedy, and mystery. Built in the 1800s, the mansion's imposing stone walls and intricate woodwork are a testament to the ambitions of its original owners. But behind its elegant facade lies a history marked by misfortune and unexplained events. Over the decades, visitors, residents, and paranormal investigators have reported a wide range of supernatural phenomena, from the sounds of ghostly children laughing to cold spots in hallways and doors slamming on their own. The castle's reputation as one of Oklahoma's most haunted homes has drawn thrill-seekers and investigators alike, all eager to experience the lingering presence of the past. The history of the Cooper Castle is intertwined with its reputation for tragedy. Records indicate that several mysterious deaths occurred within its walls during the late 1800s and early 1900s, events that left the estate steeped in sorrow and speculation. Guests and staff often report a palpable sense of unease upon entering, as if the very air carries the weight of past misfortune. Some believe that these spirits, bound by untimely deaths or unresolved events, have remained in the mansion, creating the strange and unsettling experiences reported over the years. One of the most frequently cited phenomena is the sound of children laughing. Many visitors recount hearing the high-pitched giggles and playful shouts of children in rooms and hallways that have long been empty. These sounds often occur in the late evening or early morning, moments when the mansion should be silent. Witnesses have described the laughter as both joyful and eerie, sometimes seeming to move through different rooms, as if the children were running and playing throughout the castle. The source of the sounds has never been identified, and they frequently leave those who hear them questioning whether the castle is echoing the joy of long-gone inhabitants or masking a more sinister presence. Cold spots are another hallmark of the Cooper Castle's haunting. Visitors and investigators alike report sudden drops in temperature as they move through the mansion, particularly in hallways, stairwells, and rooms associated with historical deaths. These cold spots are often localized, creating a stark contrast with the surrounding environment, and are sometimes accompanied by a feeling of pressure or dread. Guests have described the sensation as chilling not only to the body, but to the spirit, leaving them with a lingering sense that they are not alone. Some paranormal investigators suggest that these cold areas may represent concentrated energy from the spirits, who remain tied to the castle. Doors slamming without explanation is another commonly reported phenomenon. Even when the mansion is empty, heavy wooden doors have been heard banging shut or creaking open and closed on their own. Some visitors have witnessed doors swing violently with no discernible source, while others report a more subtle, almost deliberate movement, as if the spirits were attempting to communicate or draw attention to particular areas. These incidents often provoke both fear and fascination, reinforcing the idea that the castle is alive with unseen activity. Apparitions have been observed and even photographed on multiple occasions by paranormal investigators. Shadowy figures in period clothing have been captured in hallways, near staircases, and in rooms where the most tragic events reportedly occurred. Some of these figures appear partially transparent, while others are more defined, giving the impression of individuals frozen in time. Investigators and guests alike describe the figures as both unsettling and sorrowful, their presence a stark reminder of the mansion's haunted past. In some cases, these apparitions have been reported interacting with objects, pausing near furniture, glancing toward observers, or moving as though performing tasks from long ago. The castle's interior amplifies the feeling of being haunted. Its high ceilings, narrow corridors, and heavy wooden furniture create acoustics that carry footsteps and voices eerily, making unexplained sounds all the more disconcerting. Chandeliers sway with no draft, floorboards creak under invisible weight, and shadows seem to shift and stretch across the walls. Guests have described feeling watched, a sensation that intensifies in rooms where tragic events occurred. This combination of architectural design and paranormal activity creates a deeply immersive environment, where visitors feel as though they have stepped into a place where the past and present coexist. Psychological effects on visitors are also significant. Even those who arrive skeptical often leave with stories of unexplainable occurrences. Many report lingering unease, goosebumps, and the impression of being followed throughout the castle. Some have recounted hearing whispers, feeling invisible touches, or seeing fleeting shadows in peripheral vision. These experiences are heightened by the castle's history, the knowledge of its previous occupants, fates, and the atmospheric tension created by dim lighting and antique furnishings. Paranormal investigators have documented a wide array of activity using audio equipment, video cameras, and electromagnetic field detectors. Many claim to have recorded unexplained sounds, shadowy movements, and temperature fluctuations consistent with eyewitness reports. Photographs have occasionally captured ghostly forms that cannot be attributed to reflections, lighting, or photographic error. These findings, combined with decades of anecdotal evidence, reinforce the notion that Cooper Castle is a location where the supernatural and the historical intersect, creating a haunting that is both tangible and enduring. The Cooper Castle in Oklahoma City remains a site of fascination, terror, and historical intrigue. Its combination of tragic history, unexplained phenomena, and atmospheric architecture offers visitors an experience that is as chilling as it is captivating. From the laughter of unseen children to cold spots, slamming doors, and apparitions, every step within the mansion carries the weight of the past. For those who explore its halls, the castle is not merely a relic of history, but a living testament to the lingering presence of spirits who refuse to rest. In the end, the Cooper Castle is more than a historic mansion. It is a bridge between eras, where the echoes of past tragedies and unfulfilled lives remain visible and audible to those willing to enter. The stories of ghostly laughter, shadowy figures, and unseen interactions serve as a chilling reminder that some places retain the energy of those who walk their halls long after life has ended. For visitors, it is an unforgettable encounter with a past that refuses to remain silent. A haunting experience that lingers long after leaving the grand, enigmatic estate. The Dr. John Brewster House in Norwich, Connecticut, stands as a well-preserved example of colonial architecture. But behind its historic charm lies a reputation for paranormal activity that has intrigued visitors for decades. Built in the 18th century, the home was occupied by several generations of the Brewster family, including Dr. John Brewster, a prominent physician in the area. While the house reflects the elegance and functionality of its era, many who enter report experiences that suggest the spirits of former residents continue to linger, making it one of Connecticut's most haunted homes. Guests and researchers alike describe an immediate shift in atmosphere upon entering the house. The air often feels heavier, carrying a sense of watchfulness that seems to settle over visitors as they walk through the rooms. Some report feeling unseen eyes tracking their movements, or a sudden chill that has no explanation. These sensations are particularly strong in the upstairs rooms, areas historically associated with the deaths of former occupants, where the intensity of the paranormal activity appears to peak. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is ghostly laughter echoing through the hallways. Visitors describe hearing soft, fleeting chuckles, or muffled voices that seem to come from nowhere. These sounds are often reported late in the evening or during quiet hours when the house is otherwise still, creating an unsettling impression that unseen entities are observing or interacting with the living. In some instances, the laughter seems almost playful, while in others it carries an edge of sorrow, as if the echoes of past tragedies are replaying themselves within the walls. Shadow figures are another hallmark of the Brewster house's haunted reputation. Guests frequently report glimpsing dark silhouettes at the edge of their vision, moving across rooms or disappearing when attention is focused directly on them. These shadows are most often seen in the upstairs corridors and bedrooms, adding to the eerie sensation that the house itself is alive with the presence of those who once lived there. Some visitors describe the figures as fleeting, visible only for a moment, while others have seen more defined shapes, suggesting the lingering energy of specific individuals. Doors and objects also behave mysteriously within the Brewster house. Many visitors recount doors opening and closing on their own, sometimes with gentle movement, other times with a forceful slam. Items placed on tables or shelves have been reported to shift or fall without explanation, and some guests have even felt the subtle pressure of an unseen hand moving past them. These unexplained occurrences contribute to the house's immersive and unsettling atmosphere. reinforcing the sense that it is a space where the past and present intersect in ways that cannot be fully understood. The upstairs rooms, in particular, are hotspots for paranormal activity. Historically, these areas were where several Brewster family members passed away, and visitors consistently report a heightened awareness and a stronger presence here. Cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched are frequently documented in these rooms. Some guests claim to hear footsteps pacing along the corridors above them, or voices speaking softly when no one else is present. The combination of visual, auditory, and physical phenomena makes the upper floors the most intense and memorable part of any visit. Even beyond the more overt experiences, many visitors note an emotional resonance that permeates the home. There is a prevailing sense of history, loss, and memory embedded within the walls, and the Brewster house seems to amplify these feelings. Guests often leave with a lingering impression of the lives once lived here, a profound awareness of the house as a repository for both personal and collective history. The mixture of charm, history, and paranormal activity creates an environment that is both captivating and unsettling, where the echoes of the past feel immediate and real. Paranormal investigators have documented numerous occurrences within the Brewster house. Audio recordings occasionally capture unexplained whispers or laughter, while video footage sometimes shows fleeting shadows crossing hallways. While skeptics may attribute these experiences to suggestion or environmental factors, the consistency of reports over time adds weight to the belief that the Brewster house maintains a genuine spiritual presence. The Dr. John Brewster House remains a compelling destination for those interested in both colonial history and the paranormal. Its well-preserved architecture, combined with a rich and sometimes tragic history, sets the stage for experiences that are difficult to forget. Ghostly laughter, shadowy figures, and unexplained movements contribute to an atmosphere where the boundary between the living and the departed feels permeable. Visitors often leave with a deep respect for the house, as well as an undeniable sense that some of its former inhabitants continue to linger, silently observing the world they once knew. In the end, the Brewster house stands as more than a historic home. It is a place where history, memory, and the supernatural converge. The echoes of past residents, through laughter, shadows, and subtle movements, ensure that the house's story is not confined to history books. For those who walk its halls, the presence of former inhabitants is felt with every creaking floorboard and whispered sound, making the Dr. John Brewster house a uniquely immersive and haunting experience. The Mark Twain House in Hartford, Connecticut, is renowned not only as the residence of one of America's greatest authors, but also as a site of lingering mystery and reported paranormal activity. Built in the 1870s, the Victorian Gothic mansion served as the home of Samuel Clemens, better known as Mark Twain, and his family for nearly 2 decades. It was here that Twain wrote some of his most celebrated works, including The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Yet beyond its architectural beauty and historical significance, the house has earned a reputation as a place where the past is never truly at rest. Visitors and staff have long reported a variety of strange occurrences, from shadowy figures flitting through rooms to unexplained typing sounds in the study, and sudden cold drafts that defy explanation. One of the most frequently reported phenomena in the Twain house involves shadowy figures. Guests and employees alike have recounted seeing dark forms moving across hallways, disappearing when directly observed. These shadows often take on human shapes, sometimes resembling the members of Twain's own family. Witnesses describe them as fleeting and ethereal, gliding silently from room to room, leaving behind only the sensation that they were not alone. Some have even reported seeing these shadows in the upstairs bedrooms or near the study, suggesting a connection to the personal and creative life of the family that once inhabited the mansion. The study, where Twain did much of his writing, is another focal point for paranormal activity. Visitors have reported hearing the distinct sound of typing when the room is empty, the clatter of keys echoing across a polished wooden desk, as if the author himself were hard at work on an unseen manuscript. Some describe the typing as deliberate and rhythmic, mimicking the style of a practiced hand. Others have claimed to hear the scratch of pen on paper, despite no writing instruments being in use. For many, the experience is both thrilling and unsettling, offering the impression that Twain's creative spirit continues to inhabit the home, never fully resting even after his passing. Cold drafts and sudden drops in temperature are also commonly reported throughout the mansion. Guests walking through hallways, particularly those near the study or bedrooms, frequently feel a chilling breeze that seems to come from nowhere. Some describe the sensation as an invisible hand brushing past them, while others report goosebumps or a heavy pressure that accompanies the drop in temperature. These unexplained chills often occur in areas associated with intense emotion or historical significance, further reinforcing the impression that the house is alive with lingering energy from the past. Footsteps echoing in empty rooms are another frequent phenomenon in the Twain house. Visitors often report hearing the soft tread of someone walking along the polished wooden floors or ascending the staircase when no one is present. The footsteps vary in intensity, sometimes faint and distant, other times firm and deliberate. They consistently create a sense of being observed. Many guests have described pausing mid-tour, glancing toward a hallway or doorway, only to find the space completely vacant. The persistence of these sounds over the years has contributed to the house's reputation as a hub of paranormal activity, where the lives of its former inhabitants are never entirely forgotten. Doors and windows in the Twain house have also exhibited inexplicable movement. Heavy wooden doors have been reported swinging open or closed without any draft or human intervention, often accompanied by the sensation that someone is guiding them. Windows occasionally rattle or produce soft knocks, as if beckoning attention. These subtle, yet eerie occurrences reinforce the feeling that the home itself has a presence, an awareness that responds to the living as if the house remembers the people who once walked its halls. Many visitors report a strong emotional or psychological response when exploring the mansion. The combination of shadowy figures, mysterious sounds, and fluctuating temperatures often creates a sense of tension and anticipation. Even skeptics, when confronted with multiple unexplained events in a single visit, frequently find themselves reconsidering the boundaries between history and the supernatural. Some describe an almost comforting feeling as well as a sense that the spirits of the Twain family are watching over their home, maintaining a presence that is protective rather than malevolent. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Mark Twain house, seeking to capture evidence of the unexplained. Audio recordings sometimes reveal indistinct whispers or faint typing sounds, while thermal imaging occasionally shows cold anomalies consistent with the reported chills experienced by visitors. Video footage has captured fleeting shadows moving across hallways and rooms, though the figures vanish as quickly as they appear. These findings, combined with decades of visitor testimony, suggest that the Twain house is more than a historical site. It is a space where the past and present coexist, where the energies of those who lived and worked there continue to echo. The house's long history adds depth to its haunting. Samuel Clemens and his family experienced both triumphs and tragedies within these walls. From literary success to personal loss, the intensity of emotions, combined with the creative energy that filled the home, may have left an imprint that continues to resonate. Whether it is the spirit of Twain himself typing at his desk, a family member moving through a hallway, or the inexplicable cold drafts and footsteps, the house seems to preserve the essence of those who once called it home. Walking through the Mark Twain house, visitors are enveloped in an atmosphere that blends literary history with the uncanny. Every shadow, whisper, and draft becomes a reminder that the home is more than a static museum. It is a living repository of memory and presence. The experiences reported by countless guests, from shadowy figures to phantom typing, create an immersive encounter with both the history and the mystery of one of America's most celebrated authors. The Emily Dickinson House in Amherst, Massachusetts, stands as both a monument to one of America's greatest poets and a site shrouded in quiet mystery. This modest yet elegant home, where Emily Dickinson spent most of her life, has long been a place of fascination, not only for literary enthusiasts, but also for those intrigued by the supernatural. Over the years, visitors, staff, and researchers have reported a variety of strange phenomena: sudden chills, soft whispers, and the unsettling sensation of being watched that suggests the poet herself may linger within these walls. Continuing her contemplative work beyond the grave, Emily Dickinson, known for her reclusive lifestyle and extraordinary literary output, filled her home with an intensity of thought and observation that seems to have left a lasting imprint on the property. Many who enter the house describe an immediate sense of stillness, a hushed atmosphere that feels both contemplative and expectant. Some visitors report feeling watched, as if unseen eyes are tracking their movements through the rooms. This sensation is often most pronounced in Dickinson's bedroom and study, spaces intimately connected with her writing and private life. One of the most frequently reported experiences in the Dickinson house is the sudden chill that can wash over visitors without warning. These cold drafts are often localized, appearing in corners, near windows, or along hallways, and seem unrelated to any drafts or heating inconsistencies in the home. Witnesses describe the chill as not merely physical, but almost spiritual, leaving them with a heightened awareness of their surroundings. Some suggest that these cold spots represent the presence of Emily herself, a subtle reminder that her energy and spirit remain intertwined with the very walls she inhabited. Soft whispers are another hallmark of the house's reported hauntings. Visitors often describe hearing faint, indistinct voices while walking through the rooms, particularly in the poet's study or along narrow hallways. The whispers are sometimes perceived as fragments of poetry, delicate and fleeting, carried on an unseen breeze. Other times, they are simply murmurs that cannot be deciphered but leave a profound emotional impression, creating a sense that the house is alive with the echoes of Dickinson's thoughts. Those who have spent time in silence report that these whispers seem to respond to their own reflections or musings, as if the poet is silently observing and participating in their presence. Perhaps the most striking reports involve sightings of Emily Dickinson herself. Guests and staff have occasionally claimed to see a faint, ethereal figure gliding silently through the rooms, dressed in the long, modest gowns characteristic of her lifetime. These apparitions are typically described as moving with purpose, yet uttering no sound, as though engaged in the contemplative work that defined her life. Some witnesses report glimpsing her at the edge of their vision, disappearing when they attempt to focus directly, while others claim to have seen her seated in her study, pen in hand, apparently writing or reading. The figure is never threatening. Instead, it conveys a quiet presence, a lingering consciousness that mirrors the poet's own temperament. Doors and objects within the house have also been reported moving inexplicably. Small items, such as papers, books, and writing instruments, are occasionally found out of place, as if gently shifted by an invisible hand. Some visitors have experienced doors that close softly behind them, with no draft or human interference, adding to the sense of Emily's attentive presence. These subtle phenomena are often accompanied by the feeling that the house itself is aware, an environment responding to both its history and the living visitors who enter its rooms. The upstairs areas of the Dickinson house are often described as particularly charged with paranormal energy. Dickinson spent much of her later life upstairs, writing and reflecting in seclusion. Guests report an especially strong sensation of being observed when moving through these spaces. Some have recounted sudden feelings of weight or pressure near their shoulders, while others have heard faint footsteps along hallways where no one else is present. The combination of architectural intimacy, historical significance, and lingering energy contributes to an environment where the poet's presence is keenly felt. Many visitors also note an emotional resonance that seems independent of any visual or auditory phenomena. Even in the absence of any specific paranormal event, the house evokes feelings of introspection, melancholy, and deep contemplation. Scholars and enthusiasts alike have remarked on how the atmosphere mirrors Dickinson's poetry, which often explored themes of death, solitude, and the unseen. The effect can be both inspiring and unsettling, leaving guests with the impression that they are participating in a space where the boundary between past and present is permeable. Paranormal investigators and researchers have documented a range of experiences within the Emily Dickinson house. Audio recordings have occasionally captured faint murmurs or indistinct voices, while thermal imaging has detected unexplained cold spots, particularly in the upper floors. Some video recordings have captured fleeting shadows or movements that correspond to reported sightings of Emily's apparition. While skeptics attribute many of these occurrences to suggestion or the atmospheric qualities of the historic home, the consistency of reports over decades suggests that something unusual may indeed linger here. Ultimately, the Emily Dickinson house stands as a unique fusion of history, literature, and the unexplained. Its reputation for haunting is inseparable from the life and character of the poet who inhabited it, and visitors consistently report experiences that evoke both awe and unease. From the sudden chills and soft whispers to the ethereal sightings of Emily herself, the house offers a glimpse into a world where a remarkable literary legacy seems to continue beyond death. For those who walk its halls, the Dickinson house is more than a preserved historic site. It is a place where the poet's spirit lingers, observing, reflecting, and perhaps even continuing her contemplative work. Each unexplained sound, shadow, or draft serves as a reminder that some presences endure, quietly shaping the spaces they once called home. The house remains a testament not only to Emily Dickinson's genius, but also to the lingering echoes of a life that, though secluded, continues to be felt in the present. The Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast in Fall River, Massachusetts, remains one of the most notorious haunted houses in America. The home, built in the 19th century, gained infamy in 1892 when Lizzie Borden was accused of brutally murdering her father and stepmother with an axe. Although she was acquitted, the gruesome events left an indelible mark on the house, a darkness that many believe still lingers within its walls. Today, the property operates as a bed and breakfast, allowing guests to stay overnight. Yet, for those who do, the history and reported paranormal activity create an experience that is as chilling as it is unforgettable. Visitors often speak of a palpable shift in atmosphere as soon as they enter the house. The air feels heavier, and many report a sudden sense of being watched, even in rooms that appear empty. This lingering tension is particularly pronounced in areas associated with the murders, such as the bedrooms and upstairs hallways. Guests frequently describe an overwhelming feeling of dread, as if the tragic events from over a century ago continue to replay in the present. The house itself seems to hold the memory of the violent night, and this memory manifests in ways both subtle and startling. One of the most commonly reported experiences is seeing ghostly apparitions. Guests have described fleeting figures moving through the hallways or standing silently in corners, often vanishing when directly observed. Some apparitions resemble the Borden family members, while others are less defined, appearing as shadowy presences that instill unease. These sightings are often accompanied by a sensation of someone following or observing, creating an immersive experience in which the past and present seem to converge. Many report glimpsing figures in doorways or mirrors, giving the impression that the spirits are aware of their presence and perhaps reenacting moments from their lives or deaths. Shadowy figures are another frequent occurrence in the house. Visitors have reported seeing dark silhouettes drift along walls or across rooms, disappearing suddenly or melting into the corners. The shadows are most often seen near areas where tragic events occur, heightening the sense of unease. The combination of shadow sightings and apparitions creates an environment where visitors feel constantly observed, as if the house itself is alive with unseen entities. Unexplained physical sensations are a hallmark of the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast. Guests often report sudden cold spots that appear without warning, particularly in hallways and bedrooms. Some describe being touched or brushed by invisible hands, sometimes lightly on the shoulder or arm, and other times with a more pressing sensation. Doors and windows have been observed opening and closing on their own, and objects occasionally shift without explanation. These experiences amplify the house's unsettling energy, leaving visitors both fascinated and unnerved. Auditory phenomena also play a significant role in the reported hauntings. Many overnight guests have heard ghostly footsteps along hardwood floors, whispers echoing through empty rooms, or faint cries late at night. Some claim to hear objects moving or falling without any apparent cause, while others report the sound of laughter that cannot be attributed to anyone present. These unexplained sounds are often concentrated in the upper floors, where the history of tragedy is most concentrated, reinforcing the house's reputation as a site of persistent paranormal activity. The bedrooms, particularly the ones connected to the murders, are hotspots for ghostly encounters. Room 4, Lizzie's own room at the time of the murders, is often described as heavy with energy. A room where the presence of the past is most tangible. Guests staying here frequently report feeling watched, seeing fleeting figures, or sensing sudden drops in temperature. Objects sometimes appear to move or shift mysteriously, creating an atmosphere in which the boundary between history and the present blurs. The intensity of these experiences varies, but even brief encounters leave a lasting impression. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast, documenting numerous unusual occurrences. Audio recordings capture unexplained whispers, footsteps, and occasional bangs. Video footage occasionally reveals shadows, crossing rooms or objects moving seemingly on their own. Many investigators note spikes in electromagnetic fields, particularly in areas associated with historical events. The combination of historical research and modern paranormal investigation paints a picture of a house steeped in both tragedy and lingering spiritual energy. For visitors, the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast offers a unique and immersive experience. Its preserved Victorian architecture, combined with the tragic history and consistent reports of paranormal activity, creates an atmosphere that is simultaneously fascinating and unnerving. Ghostly apparitions, shadowy figures, cold spots, and the sense of being touched by unseen hands ensure that the house remains a living reminder of its violent past. Even over a century later, the home of Lizzie Borden continues to captivate, unsettle, and haunt all who enter, making it one of America's most compelling and chilling haunted destinations. The Old Stone House in Washington, D.C., is a striking relic of colonial America, standing as the city's oldest unchanged building. Built in the 18th century, it has witnessed centuries of history, from the bustling early days of the capital to the modern city that surrounds it. Yet beyond its historical and architectural significance, the Old Stone House has long been associated with paranormal activity, drawing visitors eager to experience its haunted reputation firsthand. Those who enter often find themselves encountering more than just history, as the spirits of the past seem to linger, shaping an atmosphere thick with mystery and unease. Visitors frequently remark on the shift in ambience as they cross the threshold. The air within the house carries a weight that is both physical and emotional, an almost tangible presence that suggests unseen eyes tracking every movement. Many guests report a sense of being watched, a feeling that intensifies as they move from room to room. While the entire house is said to be haunted, the basement and attic are often cited as the most active areas, where paranormal experiences are strongest and most persistent. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the appearance of apparitions dressed in period clothing. Guests have described seeing men and women in colonial-era attire, standing silently in corners or moving through hallways as if performing ordinary domestic tasks. Some figures appear to reenact historical moments, giving the impression that the house is replaying fragments of its past for those present in the modern era. Often, these apparitions are fleeting, visible only at the edge of one's vision, disappearing the moment attention is focused on them. Others, however, seem more defined, with faces and movements that hint at lingering consciousness or awareness. Auditory phenomena are also a hallmark of the Old Stone House's haunted reputation. Visitors frequently report hearing ghostly conversations, soft murmurs, or distant laughter in rooms that are otherwise empty. These sounds often seem reactive, responding to the presence of living guests, which creates an unnerving sense of interaction with the unseen. Some have described hearing creaking floorboards or doors moving on their own, accompanied by soft thumps or knocks, as if invisible residents are pacing the hallways or shifting objects. The basement, with its low ceilings and stone walls, often amplifies these sounds, producing echoes that feel both ancient and immediate. Cold spots are another common occurrence. Guests have described sudden and localized drops in temperature, often accompanied by goosebumps or a shiver that runs down the spine. These chills are especially prevalent in the attic and basement, areas historically associated with the home's more private or labor-intensive spaces. Some visitors even report feeling subtle touches or the sensation of being brushed by an invisible presence, particularly near the stairwells and corners where shadows seem to gather. The combination of temperature fluctuations, tactile sensations, and visual apparitions makes the old stone house a multi-sensory encounter with the past. Shadow figures add another layer of eerie. Guests often see dark silhouettes flitting across walls or along hallways, vanishing when approached. These shadows are most commonly observed in areas where the house's energy is strongest, including the attic where storage and private activities once took place, and the basement where the labor of earlier inhabitants left an imprint. Sometimes the shadows appear to mirror human movement, walking along the floor or standing silently, creating a chilling impression that the house itself is alive with spirits. Investigators and enthusiasts have attempted to document the paranormal activity within the old stone house for years. Audio recordings occasionally capture unexplained whispers or footsteps, while video footage sometimes reveals fleeting shadows crossing rooms. Temperature anomalies and electromagnetic field spikes have also been reported, particularly in areas where visitors claim the strongest sensations of presence. These consistent accounts, coupled with the house's long history, reinforce its reputation as a genuine site of paranormal interest. The historical context of the house enhances its spectral presence. Built during a period of colonial tension, the old stone house witnessed the daily lives of early American families, including their struggles, triumphs, and tragedies. Some spirits reportedly remain tied to the building, whether as echoes of ordinary life or as lingering consciousness unable to move on. The combination of architectural preservation and paranormal activity allows visitors to step into a space where time seems to overlap, and the past feels startlingly immediate. Many guests describe an emotional resonance that permeates the house. There is a heaviness that conveys the weight of centuries of human activity, a sense of lives once lived and remembered. Even without seeing an apparition or hearing a sound, visitors often leave with the impression that the house is inhabited by more than just memories. The combination of visual, auditory, and physical phenomena creates an immersive experience where history and the supernatural converge in an almost tangible way. Ultimately, the old stone house in Washington, D.C., offers more than a glimpse into colonial life. It is a portal to the past, a place where centuries-old spirits linger and interact with the living. From the basement to the attic, every corner seems infused with presence, whether felt as a chill, seen as a shadow, or heard as an echo of a life long gone. Visitors leave with a profound awareness that this historic home remembers its past in ways both haunting and unforgettable, making it one of the most compelling and chilling haunted locations in the nation. The Driscoll Hotel in Austin, Texas, is more than a symbol of luxury and historical grandeur. It is also considered one of the most haunted hotels in the United States. Built in 1886 by cattle baron Jesse Driscoll, the hotel was designed to be an opulent showcase of Victorian elegance, complete with marble staircases, ornate woodwork, and lavish chandeliers. Yet beneath its gilded surface, the Driscoll has earned a reputation as a hotspot for paranormal activity. Guests, staff, and paranormal investigators alike have reported a range of supernatural phenomena, making the hotel a magnet for those intrigued by history, mystery, and the unexplained. Visitors often describe a distinct shift in atmosphere the moment they enter the hotel. The lobby, though bustling with guests during the day, can feel heavy with unseen presence, as if the air itself carries memories of those who have walked its halls for more than a century. At night, the ornate corridors and grand staircases take on a more eerie quality. Many guests report sudden drops in temperature, faint whispers, and the sensation of being watched even in rooms that appear completely empty. The combination of the building's historic architecture and the energy of past events seems to amplify these experiences, creating a setting where the past and present intersect in unexpected ways. One of the most commonly reported phenomena at the Driscoll is the presence of shadowy figures. Guests have described dark silhouettes moving across hallways or lingering at the edges of rooms. Some witnesses claim to see these figures dressed in period attire, evoking the hotel's 19th century origins. These apparitions are often fleeting, vanishing when approached, yet their presence leaves an indelible impression. In some cases, staff have reported encountering figures in the corridors who disappear into walls or doorways, suggesting a lingering consciousness that refuses to move on. Doors slamming or opening on their own is another frequent occurrence. Guests often hear sudden bangs echoing through the hallways, sometimes coinciding with other unexplained events. Light fixtures occasionally sway, and objects in rooms have been reported to shift without explanation. These incidents, though subtle, contribute to a pervasive sense that the building is alive with unseen activity. Some visitors describe feeling a gentle brush or tap, as if a ghostly hand is making contact, adding a physical dimension to the hotel's eerie reputation. The Driscoll's haunted reputation is not confined to public spaces. Many of the guest rooms themselves are said to be hotbeds of paranormal activity. Some rooms carry stories of previous tragedies, including deaths from natural causes or accidents, and guests report a range of supernatural experiences. From seeing shadowy figures standing silently by the bed to hearing unexplained footsteps pacing the floor. In certain rooms, whispers are reported so clearly that guests believe someone is speaking directly to them, though no one else is present. These encounters can range from subtle and fleeting to intense and immersive, leaving a lasting impression on those who stay overnight. The hotel's history also plays a role in its supernatural allure. Over the decades, the Driscoll has hosted politicians, celebrities, and everyday travelers, and with so many people passing through its halls, the building has absorbed layers of memory and energy. Some claim that these layers manifest as ghostly activity, with spirits of past guests and even the hotel's original owners lingering in certain areas. Others believe that tragic or emotional events, such as deaths or intense arguments, have left a permanent mark on the property, contributing to its reputation as a haunted location. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Driscoll Hotel, documenting numerous unusual occurrences. Audio recordings capture unexplained whispers, footsteps, and occasional knocks that cannot be attributed to any known source. Video footage sometimes shows shadows moving along hallways or objects shifting on their own. Investigators have also reported sudden drops in temperature and other anomalies consistent with other historical haunted sites. While skeptics attribute some experiences to the building's age or creaky infrastructure, the consistency of reports over time lends credibility to claims of lingering supernatural presence. Many visitors describe an emotional component to their experiences at the Driscoll. Beyond the visual and auditory phenomena, there is a sense of history and presence that feels almost tangible. Guests often report a profound awareness of lives once lived within the walls, of the laughter, arguments, and quiet moments that have echoed through the building for more than a century. The combination of architectural beauty, historical significance, and paranormal activity creates a setting that is both captivating and unnerving. Even for those who do not encounter overt supernatural events, the hotel's haunted reputation casts a shadow over the experience. The knowledge of past sightings, combined with the atmospheric Victorian architecture and dimly lit hallways, ensures that guests remain alert, aware, and sometimes on edge. For those who are particularly sensitive or attuned to the paranormal, the Driscoll can be a profoundly immersive experience, offering a glimpse into the unknown that is both thrilling and unsettling. Ultimately, The Driscoll Hotel is more than just a historic landmark in Austin. It is a living repository of the past, where the echoes of former guests, staff, and owners seem to persist. Shadowy figures, slamming doors, cold spots, and whispers all contribute to an atmosphere that blurs the line between history and the supernatural. Visitors who spend a night within its walls are often struck by the feeling that the hotel remembers them as much as they remember it, and that the spirits of the past continue to roam freely. For anyone seeking a haunted experience, steeped in history, grandeur, and chilling encounters, the Driscoll Hotel offers a uniquely immersive journey into the spectral side of Austin, Texas. The Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, is often referred to as America's most haunted hotel, a title that reflects both its storied history and the paranormal activity reported by visitors. Perched high on a hill with sweeping views of the surrounding Ozarks, the hotel's elegant Victorian architecture conceals a darker past, one that continues to influence the experiences of those who enter its grand halls. Over the decades, guests and staff alike have described unsettling phenomena: disembodied voices, moving shadows, sudden cold spots, and the pervasive sensation of being watched. Each room, corridor, and hidden corner seems to carry a fragment of the hotel's layered and often tragic history, creating an atmosphere where the line between past and present becomes almost imperceptible. The Crescent was constructed in 1886 as a luxury resort, drawing wealthy travelers seeking the restorative waters of Eureka Springs. However, by the early 1900s, it had been converted into a hospital and sanitarium, catering to patients with a wide range of ailments. During this period, treatments were often experimental, and some patients reportedly died within the building, their suffering leaving an indelible imprint on the property. This legacy of pain and mortality is said to permeate the hotel, particularly in the rooms that once served as patient wards. Many guests have noted an oppressive energy in these spaces, a heaviness that seems to press down upon anyone who lingers too long. The combination of historical tragedy and the building's Gothic architecture creates an environment ripe for paranormal encounters. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at the Crescent Hotel is the presence of disembodied voices. Guests have described hearing whispers in empty rooms, conversations echoing down hallways, or cries and murmurs that cannot be explained by any human source. These auditory experiences are sometimes fleeting, lasting only a few seconds, yet they leave a lasting impression on those who hear them. In some cases, the voices seem to respond to the presence of the living, as if the spirits are aware of their audience. Visitors often report hearing their names called softly, or catching fragments of sentences that convey distress, longing, or warning. Visual manifestations are equally common. Shadowy figures have been seen moving through corridors, standing silently in corners, or drifting past doors. Some witnesses describe these figures as vaguely human, while others report more defined apparitions, often dressed in period clothing reminiscent of the hotel's early days. Guests have recounted seeing former patients wandering the halls, appearing to replay moments from their lives or deaths. These figures are usually fleeting, vanishing when attention is directed toward them, yet their presence is unmistakable. In some rooms, objects appear to move of their own accord. Doors swing open or close without warning, and furniture occasionally shifts position, heightening the sense that the hotel is inhabited by unseen residents. Temperature fluctuations and cold spots are another hallmark of the Crescent Hotel's paranormal activity. Guests frequently report sudden chills, sometimes localized to a particular corner of a room or hallway. These temperature drops often coincide with other strange occurrences, such as moving shadows or the sensation of being touched by an unseen hand. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile phenomena creates a multisensory experience that reinforces the feeling that the building itself is alive with residual energy. Many visitors describe a heightened sense of awareness when walking through the hallways at night, as though the spirits are observing, guiding, or warning them. Certain rooms in the hotel, particularly those that were part of the former sanitarium, are reported to be especially active. Guests staying overnight in these rooms often recount hearing footsteps pacing the floor above or below, whispers that seem to come from the walls themselves, and the unmistakable sensation of a presence standing close by. Some claim to have felt hands brush against their arms or shoulders, while others report glimpsing fleeting figures just outside the bedroom door. Even those who do not see a ghost often leave with a lingering sense of unease, a recognition that the hotel holds memories and energy far beyond its visible history. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Crescent Hotel, documenting countless unusual events. Audio recordings often capture unexplained whispers or cries, while video footage occasionally shows shadows moving in ways that defy natural explanation. Electromagnetic field readings have fluctuated significantly in certain areas, particularly the former patient rooms and hallways, suggesting concentrations of paranormal energy, while skeptics attribute some occurrences to the building's age, acoustics, or imaginative guests. The consistency of reports over decades has cemented the Crescent's reputation as one of America's most haunted locations. The emotional weight of the Crescent Hotel is palpable to many visitors. Beyond the physical manifestations of ghosts and shadows, there is an intangible sense of history pressing in from every corner. Guests often feel as if they are walking among echoes of the past, experiencing fragments of lives long gone. The combination of historical tragedy, luxurious architecture, and persistent paranormal activity creates an environment where time feels fluid, and the line between the living and the dead is blurred. Ultimately, the Crescent Hotel is more than a historic building. It is a living repository of memory, suffering, and lingering spirit. Its halls carry the echoes of those who once walked them, the cries of patients long deceased, and the whispered presence of entities that refuse to rest. For guests who stay overnight, the experience is immersive and haunting, offering a rare glimpse into a place where history and the supernatural collide. Whether witnessing moving shadows, hearing disembodied voices, or simply feeling the oppressive energy in certain rooms, visitors leave the Crescent Hotel with the undeniable sense that the past is very much alive, and that its spirits continue to watch, whisper, and wander through one of America's most enigmatic and chilling haunted hotels. The Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa, is a chilling landmark in American history. Infamous for the brutal murders that occurred within its walls on a summer night in 1912. On that night, 8 people, 6 members of the Moore family, and 2 young house guests were killed in their sleep with an axe. The violent and mysterious nature of the crime shocked the small town, and despite investigations, the case remains unsolved. Over a century later, the house has become a focal point for paranormal enthusiasts, ghost hunters, and curious visitors, all drawn to the lingering echoes of that horrific night. The house is widely regarded as one of the most haunted residences in the United States, its dark history seeping into every corner of its wooden floors and shadowed rooms. Visitors to the Villisca Axe Murder House often report an immediate sense of unease upon entering. The atmosphere is heavy, oppressive, as though the weight of past tragedy presses down on anyone who crosses the threshold. Even during daylight hours, the rooms seem to carry a residual energy that unsettles the senses. Guests describe the feeling of being watched, a subtle awareness that unseen eyes are tracking their movements. The sense of presence is pervasive, and it becomes particularly pronounced in the bedrooms where the murders took place. Auditory phenomena are among the most frequently reported experiences. Visitors have recounted hearing screams, sobbing, or whispers echoing through the hallways, even when the house is empty. These sounds are sometimes fleeting, vanishing as soon as attention is directed toward them, while at other times they appear more insistent, filling rooms with an eerie, almost tangible energy. Some guests report hearing footsteps pacing across the floors, both above and below them, despite knowing no one else is present. The combination of the house's creaking floors and these unexplainable sounds produces a chilling, immersive experience that reinforces its reputation as a site of paranormal activity. Visual manifestations also play a significant role in the house's haunted reputation. Guests have described shadowy figures moving across hallways or standing silently in corners, vanishing when approached. These shadows often appear human in form, sometimes resembling the figures of children or adults who could have been residents or victims of the house. Some visitors claim to have seen apparitions dressed in early 20th century clothing, suggesting that the spirits replay fragments of life for death, frozen in time. These fleeting glimpses create a sense of disorientation, as though the boundary between past and present has blurred within the house. Cold spots are another hallmark of the Villisca Axe Murder House. Guests frequently report sudden drops in temperature, localized to certain areas, such as the bedrooms or the hallway leading to them. These cold spots are often accompanied by other phenomena, such as the sensation of being touched or brushed by an unseen presence. Many visitors describe a tangible unease during these moments, a combination of physical chill and emotional dread that heightens the overall sense of haunting. Some of the most unsettling experiences occur at night when the house is quiet and the imagination is unguarded. Guests staying overnight often report recurring phenomena, such as objects moving without explanation, doors opening and closing on their own, and lights flickering in otherwise functional circuits. The bedrooms are particularly active, with reports of invisible hands gripping shoulders, whispers calling names, and the feeling of a presence lying alongside the sleeper. For many, these encounters are not just unsettling, they are profoundly immersive, leaving an emotional mark that persists long after leaving the property. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Villisca Axe Murder House, using audio and video equipment to document strange occurrences. Many have captured unexplained sounds on recordings, ranging from footsteps to distant cries. And some video footage appears to show shadows moving across rooms with no apparent source. Electromagnetic anomalies have also been recorded, particularly in the bedrooms where the murders occurred, suggesting concentrations of energy consistent with historical accounts of paranormal activity. While skeptics argue that the house's age and creaky construction could account for some phenomena, the consistency and intensity of experiences reported by guests over decades lend credibility to claims of haunting. The emotional resonance of the house is equally significant. Beyond physical and auditory manifestations, visitors often feel the weight of the tragedy itself, a deep and lingering sorrow tied to the violent deaths that occurred over a century ago. The house seems to preserve the memory of that night, transmitting it to anyone who enters. Guests describe a combination of fear and awe, an awareness that they are witnessing not just the architecture of a home, but the imprint of lives violently disrupted. Even those who do not experience overt paranormal phenomena are affected by the house's dark history. The knowledge of what occurred within its walls casts a shadow over the experience, creating heightened awareness and tension. The house becomes an immersive, historical, and emotional encounter, where the story of the Moore family and their guests remains alive, etched into the wood, walls, and atmosphere of the building. Ultimately, the Villisca Axe Murder House is more than just a historic crime scene. It is a repository of memory, emotion, and unexplained energy, drawing visitors into an experience that is both terrifying and compelling. The disembodied voices, shadowy figures, cold spots, and pervasive sense of being watched make it a uniquely haunted location, where history and the supernatural intersect in ways that continue to captivate and unsettle those who enter. For anyone seeking to confront the darker side of human history and explore the lingering presence of spirits, the Villisca Axe Murder House offers an experience that is unforgettable, chilling, and profoundly immersive. The Whaley House in San Diego, California, is widely regarded as one of the most haunted homes in the United States, a distinction rooted in both its unique history and the multitude of paranormal experiences reported by visitors. Constructed in 1857 by Thomas Whaley, the house was built atop the site of the city's former gallows, where public executions were carried out prior to the home's existence. This intersection of life and death imbues the property with a rare and unsettling energy, where the echoes of tragedy seem to linger in every room, hallway, and corner. For over a century, the The Whaley House has drawn curious visitors, paranormal investigators, and ghost enthusiasts, all hoping to witness or experience the phenomena that have made the home infamous. From the moment guests approach the Whaley House, there is a noticeable shift in atmosphere. Many report an immediate sense of unease, a subtle tension as if unseen eyes are following their every movement. The house, with its distinctive 19th century architecture, exudes charm on the surface. Yet beneath its polished exterior lies a profound connection to fear, sorrow, and lingering spirits. Visitors often describe the feeling that the home itself is alive, responding to their presence with a quiet, watchful energy that cannot be explained. Auditory phenomena are among the most frequently reported experiences at the Whaley House. Guests recount hearing footsteps echoing along the wooden floors when no one else is present. Whispered voices sometimes drift through empty hallways, carrying indistinct phrases that vanish as soon as attention is directed toward them. On occasion, the clatter of objects being moved or knocked over can be heard, often in rooms associated with historical events or areas of the house where residents once lived and died. These sounds are not only unsettling, but are interpreted by many as attempts by the spirits to communicate with the living, to make their presence known in subtle yet unmistakable ways. Visual encounters are equally compelling. Visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures moving through the hallways, often disappearing when approached directly. Some witnesses describe apparitions dressed in period clothing, appearing as if frozen in a moment from the 19th century. At times, these figures resemble the Whaley family themselves, while other forms remain unidentifiable, standing silently in corners or hovering near doorways. Mirrors and windows have occasionally reflected images of people who are not physically present, reinforcing the sense that the house is a space where the past and present intersect. These visual phenomena, combined with the house's historical significance, create an experience that is both eerie and immersive. Physical sensations are also reported, with many guests describing sudden drops in temperature in specific areas of the house. These cold spots often coincide with the most historically charged locations, such as the site of the former gallows or rooms associated with family tragedies. Visitors sometimes report feeling a presence standing close by, or even the sensation of being lightly touched by unseen hands. These occurrences, when combined with auditory and visual phenomena, produce a multi-layered experience that leaves many guests both frightened and fascinated. The Whaley House also holds a profound emotional impact. Beyond the tangible paranormal manifestations, visitors frequently describe an overwhelming sense of sorrow and unease, as if the house itself carries the memories of the tragedies that occurred there. The combination of domestic life, historical deaths, and continued supernatural activity creates an atmosphere that is impossible to ignore. Even those who do not see or hear spirits report feeling the weight of history pressing down, a chilling reminder of the house's past. Paranormal investigators have long documented unexplained occurrences within the Whaley House. Audio recordings often capture whispers, footsteps, and other sounds that cannot be attributed to any living source. Video surveillance occasionally reveals moving shadows or orbs of light, while electromagnetic field readings have registered unusual spikes, particularly in rooms associated with significant historical events. Though skeptics suggest that some activity may result from the age and construction of the home, the consistency and intensity of these experiences over decades contribute to the house's enduring reputation as one of America's most haunted residences. Ultimately, the Whaley House is far more than a historic building. It is a living monument to the intersection of life, death, and memory. A space where the past continues to assert its presence in ways that are tangible, unsettling, and unforgettable. Guests leave the house with stories of shadowy figures, disembodied voices, sudden chills, and objects moving on their own. For those who step inside, the Whaley House is not merely a visit to a historical site. It is an encounter with the echoes of history, a chilling journey into a home where the spirits of the past remain vividly alive. As our journey through America's most haunted homes comes to an end, we are reminded that every wall, floorboard, and shadow carries the echoes of the past. These houses are more than buildings. They are vessels of memory, sorrow, and restless spirits that refuse to fade. Whether it's a whisper in the night, a fleeting shadow, or a cold breath on your neck, the stories of these homes linger long after the lights go out. So next time you pass an old house or explore a forgotten hallway, remember, some presences never leave, and some histories are never truly buried. Step carefully, listen closely, and respect the stories that still haunt the walls around you.